that thing called life. I appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Yes, we are a little bit behind today. Why? I can't tell you. We got a lot of great stuff coming up this weekend. I am so ecstatic. This Saturday, July 1st, it is going to be bonkers. So many things going on. Wake Up Call is live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. However, we under promise, over deliver. So, like I said, we start a little bit late today. We go a little bit longer. Give you that 2 hours because this morning I was working on something, and this week I've been working on something. And I've spent days on it. I can't tell you. There's so many big things going on, and I'm so excited because, as you know, July 1st is a really, 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 really big day. And for Wake Up Call, we have a connection to the American Athletic Conference. We've covered them since their institution, and before they had a logo, before they had a name. This Saturday, July 1st, is the official day that they welcome in their 6 new schools. Houston, Cincinnati, UCF are leaving, and joining are going to be Rice, UTSA, UAB, UNC Charlotte, North Texas, and FAU. And so we have some special things set up for you there. And on July 1st, also tomorrow, on July 1st, we also have the fact that Lemoyne, for the first time ever, is going to be a Division I institution. They've had Division I teams in women's lacrosse and Lemoyne baseball before, but this is the first time that they're going to be a totally, completely, 100% Division I campus and going into the NEC. So that's happening tomorrow. So we got some special things with that going on. And I have a massive announcement at 9 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Saturday, July 1st, and I can't tell you what it is, and it's going to be incredible, and I'm really, really excited about it. So, a lot of great stuff coming up on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and so, Saturday, July 1st is going to be bananas, and I'm so looking forward to it. So, very excited, a lot of cool things happening. Appreciate y'all for being supportive and being awesome and wanting to try and figure out what it is and all that good stuff. So you're going to find out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of special things for Lemoyne. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of special things for the American Athletic Conference. So very excited for what we have going on, and I can't wait. Saturday, July 1st is going to be a huge historical day for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Not that every day isn't, because we always find some awesome things to do, but we're going to have some really cool stuff for you tomorrow, and I can't wait to share that with you. So I appreciate your patience this morning, because some of the things that we were working on this morning took a bit more time than we had originally allotted and anticipated. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. Be patient to the best of your ability, because it is on its way. So really, really, really very much looking forward to this, and can't wait to share it with you. And we will. So Saturday, July 1st, just buckle up, Buttercup, because we got a lot of awesome stuff coming on. So definitely looking forward to it, and can't wait. Cannot wait. So Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're making history every year, all the time, doing great things, and I want to thank God above everything. I want to thank my loved ones that have been there since day zero, and that doesn't mean that they had to be with me from, the day I was born. From the time that we met each other, they've been supportive, they've been awesome, they've been, just incredible and positive and loving and caring and wonderful. So thank you to my people. Thank you to everybody out there, because this Saturday, July 1st, is going to be intense. It's going to be awesome. And I'm ecstatic. I'm wearing my Diamondbacks shirt today. You can see my Diamondbacks shirt is on with the Avengers around it, because I love Marvel, and I love my Diamondbacks. They're in first place at the midpoint of the season. one of my best friends and my brother is going to be on the show today, Ross Turetsky, and we're obviously going to talk about baseball, and we'll talk about my Diamondbacks. So a lot of great stuff coming up on today's show. And then this Saturday, July 1st, I know you might sleep in, I understand, but please set your alarm for me. Set it at 8:59. I don't care. Set it at 8:55, 8:59, whatever you got to do. But at 9 a.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, July 1st, do not miss one of the biggest announcements Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media has ever made. And following that, we're going to have some Lemoyne specials joining D1 and the NEC, and we're going to have some American Athletic Conference specials as that conference makes history as they head toward their 10-year anniversary and cover the American since its institution, like I said. So a lot of great stuff coming up. Cannot wait. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life on youtube.com, facebook.com, both / wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. And of course, many thanks for those of you that go to wakeupcalldt.com, our website. And on the homepage, you can get all of these wonderful pieces. You can click on the YouTube link on the homepage, click on the Facebook link, or the Podbean feed, and you can watch and listen straight from our website. So we implore you to do that as well, and we thank everybody that has. Great show set up for you today, starting things off as we always do on a Friday with the annoying moment of the week inside of Ma and Pa's. Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Go to Ma and Pa's, folks. I call it the snack capital of the world. You got to check out Ma and Pa's. They have cotton candy, lemonade, kettle corn, popcorn. They have the Elvis banana popcorn with Reese's peanut butter on it because he liked peanut butter and banana, which I do too, I've figured out, thanks to Jim Bell and Angela and JoJo and their entire team. So go out for that. Go for their chocolate-dipped Oreos, to their pretzel rods and everything that they have. If you buy a tin like I have right over my shoulder here, my Jaguars tin, you buy any size tin, you get half-price refills for the rest of your life. Any size tin, half-price refills, rest of your life. So I intend to use that for the next 70 years, and I'm really excited about it. And it's got my Jacksonville Jaguar on it. So and they have teams. They have baseball teams, football, basketball. So obviously they have Syracuse. So go out and get your tins today at Ma and Pa's. We'll start off with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. I have a very easy one this week, and then we'll get into lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver is what the acronym LEAD stands for. I created it right before COVID, and it ended up being perfect timing, and I fully credit God with that. So Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay bring you lead. The topic today is what to do when the bond breaks, and we'll discuss what that means. Top Dog of the Week will be announced at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, and we'll round out the show at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time with one of my best friends, and I consider him a brother, Ross Turetsky. We both went to Marywood, both sportscasters, both writers, both passionate about the movie world, the sports world, creators in the I don't want to say the simplest of sense, but like at the core of us is what I mean. We're creators because our brains are anything but, just a simple thing. He's so creative. Ross is such an innovative person and an amazing individual, and he pushes me every day, whether or not we're sitting in the same room. So I'm excited to have him on the show. We're going to talk Major League Baseball topics, NFL, college football, and all this great stuff coming up. So a lot of awesome things, starting with the annoying moment of the week. Let's go.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week. What in the heck is it? What is it going to be, you ask? Well, my annoying moment of the week for this week, there might be more than one, but I definitely have to pick this one because it's happened to me so many times, and it doesn't matter if I'm here or like down in Florida. People do this when they're driving, and I don't understand it, so let's discuss it. You know that thing when someone is driving their vehicle and you're trying to get into the lane that they're in, and they are blocking that lane because they think, for whatever reason, it's a great, fantastic, and fun idea had by all. Here's my issue. Okay? Here's my annoying moment of the week. Let me paint a little picture for you. I'm sitting in my car, right? And let's say I'm in the middle lane and I got to get in the right lane because I got to get off the exit. Right? And I'm not saying like the exit's like right there. I'm saying like it's coming up. So, because I'm not trying to cut anybody off. I want to make that clear. So I'm sitting here. There's a car right here. And I'm trying to get over here because I got to get off the exit. And I speed up, the car speeds up. And the car's sitting in my blind spot. Can't move. I speed up, they speed up. Speed limit 65. I'm going 75. They're going 72. 80. Can't get in. Okay. So I speed up, speed up, speed up. Now I'm going like 80 miles an hour so I can get over. And as soon as I get over, they get into my lane. What is that about? Why would you block a lane, make me have to speed to get in it, and then get over into my lane? What is wrong with you? And that happened to me today when I was talking to my dad, hands-free. And I'm not just saying that, like we were hands-free. So I'm talking to my dad, and we're having this conversation, right? Just saying that, like we were. And Pop and I are on the phone, and I'm trying to get in this lane. Or no, I'm sorry. No, I was trying to get. I think I was trying to get in the right lane. I'm trying to get in the right lane, and there's a car there, and it's blocking me. And I speed up. They're still there. I got to go faster. They're still there. So then I speed up more. I get into the lane, and I'm looking in my rear view mirror. And as I'm moving to the right lane that they were blocking me from getting into, they're coming into my lane. I feel like it's happened to me like once a day this week. And so I want to ask the question to the people out there that are doing it. What is your purpose? You know what I mean? What is the point of blocking a lane that you don't want to be in? You want to be in the middle lane. I want to be in the right lane. You're blocking me from getting in the right lane. And as I get in the right lane, you get in the middle lane. What is the point of that? What is the point of that? I don't understand. It's got to be an annoying moment of the week because it's happened to me all week long and I'm sick of it and I'm tired of it. So I had to mention it. So you could feel free to write in your annoying moments of the week. I'm going to put it right here. So what is up with people? I'm going to put it in our feed. What is up with people blocking a lane, making you have to speed only to get in your lane once you move over? I want to get your thoughts. Send me your take. Because to me, it's just astronomically, it's just annoying. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Nobody likes it. Okay? My other annoying moment of the week is, can Canada please stop having wildfires? Now, I feel bad for Canada, obviously, because they're dealing with it, right? It's there. So whatever we feel, whatever remnants we get of it, Canada's getting the worst of it. And Los Angeles, we know that California's dealt with wildfires before, but I'm looking at it right now. Our air quality currently is still in the pink. It's 164, which means that it's unhealthy. Yesterday, it was at 191 or 171. I don't know. I think it was at 191 and then went to like 175. We have had unhealthy air quality for the last couple days. Well, let me think here. We've had unhealthy air quality for at least the last 3 days, plus everything we had before. So we've had almost 2 weeks in the last month or so of bad air quality. So can Canada please stop having fires, number one? And number two, we just need to get this air healthier. It's because it's not good. It's not good for the kids. And, I call it annoying because there's kids that are supposed to have summer camps. They can't have their summer camps. And I feel bad for them. And on top of that, it's not just that. The kids can't have the summer camps. And, I was supposed to go golfing with my dad. We can't go golfing. I know some people will be like, I'm going to go golfing anyways. Who cares? Blah. And so like they're going to do whatever they want to do. But, at the same time, I think it's important to, obviously be safe and be healthy, and to just be smart about, are you going outside? If you're going outside, what are you doing outside? I mean, you don't want to be stupid when you're outside, right? You want to make sure you take care of business. And, so you put a mask on, you do the things you got to do to be healthy, not just for now, but for the future. Because people say, oh, I feel good now. Yeah, but down the road, right? And, so that's definitely an annoying moment, especially for people like myself with allergies, because we're dealing with having to breathe in the air, and it's already like, I woke up this morning, in the last few mornings, that I've just had like one of my nasal passages, like on my left side, was like more plugged than the right. And if you've ever had that feeling, you feel like you feel like there's something in your nose, but you can't unplug it. And then I dream about it. So that's not fun. My last annoying moment of the week, because I got to put 3 scoops on this thing, is that I, as a single man, single man, dating in today's zombie apocalypse, and prove me wrong. So, I mean, it is. It's a zombie, just be fine. I mean, I dated somebody, they talk about zombies where they just look at you and they just walk slowly. Yeah. And they can't stand upright. I dated that. I dated someone from The Walking Dead, but not from the show. Because if I had a choice, I would have dated Laura Cohen, who plays Maggie, if I had a choice. So here's the thing. Dating in the zombie apocalypse, what's really annoying is, in my dreams, and I don't know what has provoked this, but in my dreams, I have dreamt of women that are like, beautiful, and we're dating, and we're having a good time, and yada yada. But they're not anybody like I've ever met in my life before. I've never met these women. So last night I dreamt about a girl, and she kind of looked like a girl that I kind of dated in college, but it wasn't her. And she was tan, and she had dark features, dark hair, and she was wearing like a kind of a see-through white shirt. She had like Yankees stuff on. I know some Yankees fans are like, marry that girl. Well, she's in my dream. I have no idea who she is. But it's part of the annoying moment, because I think the women that I've had, like the women that I'm like, who are these women? In the one yesterday, the dreams I had this week were like the women. I don't think they were good relationships. I think it was like they're pretty, but like I don't really know if they're in it, and if it's like working out. And I don't want to deal with fickle and up and down, and I don't play cat and mouse. But I've had dreams where, I see this beautiful woman, and she's my girlfriend, or we're together, and then I wake up and it's like, nah, no, still the zombie apocalypse. We're still here doing the zombie thing. So, to the women in my dreams, if you do exist and you are good, then hopefully I get to meet you. But I got a gut feeling last night that the girl in my dream that was very pretty, she wasn't my girlfriend. I feel like something there was not working out, and I don't need to take more drama and put that into my life in any way, shape, or form. But it's annoying because, I think to the people, and I was talking to somebody last night about this, I appreciate, our Two Mics No Filter show that I do with Andrea Smith every Wednesday at noon Eastern time, that airs after Wake Up Call on Wednesdays. We talk about dating, we talk about relationships. This past week, we answered some questions and topics that people had. And I had somebody send me something last night, and I feel bad, and yet here's my advice to people. If I've learned anything from my own mistakes, if you say to any of your loved ones, and they go, oh, did you meet anybody? And you say, yeah. And they go, how is it? And you say, it's really good, except for one thing. Just, okay. Now, some of us can be stupid and ridiculous and off the wall, and we could be like, oh, it's great, but they wear pink shirts and I don't like pink, and then it's like, don't be an idiot. Okay. But when it's something really important to you, like the fiber of who you are, the core of your being, something that really is incredibly important to you. Like, they're great, but there's this like huge thing that really bothers me, but everything else is fine. Just leave. Just leave, okay? Because if it's really great, but there's this big old thing that you can't see past, then it's not really great. Greg, I know zombies need love too, okay? I saw that one movie, what is it? I Love Zombies or whatever it is, and like the zombie falls in love and then turns back into a human, and if that could happen, that would be great, and it would totally change my thoughts on zombies. And I know that zombies need love too, but when you date someone who kind of walks and acts like a zombie, your thoughts on zombies change, because, the whole like eating brains and being dangerous, like that is not great. But when you date somebody that acts like a zombie, then your reaction to it is, I would rather date a zombie than date this person. So dating's hard out there. I know zombies need love too, but dating is a difficult thing, man. It's a difficult thing. I don't envy my position, nor do I envy anybody else that's out there trying to find a good person, because it's not that there's not good people. I know a ton of good people, but they're pretty much all married, and because they're good people, they've been snatched up, and I know some really good people who haven't been snatched up, and I pray that they will be, because I have some really amazing brothers, and they deserve all the happiness in the world. I mean, they should have all the happiness in the world, beyond doubt. So we shall see what we shall see. And I agree that zombies need love too. But when you're dating someone who does their fantastical impersonation of a zombie and they don't do it on purpose, it's just who they've chosen to be, it gets scary. And it's not worth it. If she ate brains, the girl that I dated, it would have been less scary than what she showed me. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call. When we come back, we'll get into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad Lib, and Deliver. Speaking of eating, this has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. If you would like to try the DT Dolphin, and why wouldn't you? It's fantastic. Head out and get the official Lemoyne Dolphin Sundae, brought to you by Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Mint chocolate chip, green ice cream, hot fudge, whipped cream, cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of the sundae. I believe they're the only Carvel in the world to have a chocolate dolphin mold. So make sure you go and try the DT Dolphin, especially as the weather continues to get hot. You're going to want that ice cream so much, and because it's supposed to be 86 today, it's supposed to be in the 90s next week. So I mean, you don't need an excuse to go to Carvel, but if you did need one, well, normally ice cream cools you down. I don't know what it does for a zombie. I'd have to ask my ex-girlfriend. But beyond that, go try the DT Dolphin at Carvel DeWitt. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Here, happy to be here with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is time for us to get into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver topic. There a segment, I should say, that's brought to you every single Friday here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, exclusively from the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Always appreciate being with them, and of course appreciate one of my best friends and brothers, the owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Jimmer Sikowski. There is no better leader, in my opinion, than that man, and I'm so very grateful and thankful to have someone like him in my life, and I appreciate him so very much. So with that being said, LEAD, which is my acronym that stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, is here today to deliver this topic to you. What to do when the bond breaks. So what do you do when that bond breaks, right? When it's a bond romantically, when it's a friendship, when it's business. What do you do when the bond breaks? How do you respond to it? Because bonds are going to break. Sometimes it's not going to have anything to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong. The bond just breaks. You know? And how do you handle it? Because I think some of us, we tend to hold on when a bond breaks. When we know it's broken, when we know it's done and it's over and there's no coming back from it, we're still trying to repair the broken bond. Trying to find a way. But when the bond breaks, the bond breaks. And it's not that some bonds can't be repaired, because every bond in and of itself should be treated as its own. But not every bond is going to come back. Some friendships, they just end. Some relationships romantically end. Some business partnerships come to an end. So how do you respond to it? How do you respond to when the bond breaks? Well, I go back to what was said by my good friend Dukes Knutson in our bi-monthly segment on Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which is called Blessings in Baseball. And he brought up the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. And those 9 gifts, if you don't know what they are, I'm more than happy to share them with you. But the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit, when a bond breaks, I think it's important to look to see if we're doing these things. Love, right? We could love with everything we got and a bond can break. Joy, right? Being grateful and just appreciative and smiling but meaning that smile, not faking that smile. Just true joy, happy for other people, happy for ourselves. Peace. Are we at peace? Patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Now, if a bond breaks and we weren't loving or we weren't joyful, right? We were in a bad mood all the time, or we weren't peaceful, we didn't create a peaceful environment, or maybe they didn't, or we weren't patient with each other, we weren't kind to each other, we weren't generous to each other, we were more selfish. Were we faithful to each other, faithful to God? Were we gentle, right? Even in the tough times, did we come with a gentle hand and a gentle heart? And did we have self-control? See, that's how you check yourself when a bond breaks or when something happens. You ask yourself, what did I do? What could I have done better? Because it's so easy to go, well, they did. Okay, well, that's easy. You know, I was married. She did a bunch of things that I would have never done to somebody. She did things that were hurtful. She did things that were mean. She wasn't my partner. But I didn't sit down and eat dinner. You know, I was always working. So I was disrupting the peace. I was generous with many things, but I wasn't always generous with my time. I didn't have self-control all the time. When her family would be abusive or she would be non-responsive or look like she didn't care, I would get angry. I'd be upset. I'd yell. That wasn't self-control. Was I faithful? Yes. Did I love? Of course. Was I joyful? Was I happy when she succeeded? Yes. Was she always happy when I succeeded? No. And that's hard. Were we always kind to each other? No, we could have been better. Did we always have patience? No. Were we always gentle? No. So I think, you know, when you reflect on things and you say, okay, this relationship broke, it would be easy for me to say it broke because she did X, Y, and Z. But to truly be ready for the next relationship, you have to see where you could have been better. You know, one of my closest friends is not in my life anymore, not even as an acquaintance. And he did a lot of things that I wouldn't even have thought to do to, I wouldn't even have imagined to do to somebody. And the last thing that he did was lie to me and be really disrespectful toward certain people. So I could look at it and go, okay, well, look at what he did. But what I learned from my friendship with him is that I shouldn't be late, because it really hurt his feelings when I was late. And I never meant to hurt anybody's feelings by being late. But it made him feel like I didn't value or respect him. And that wasn't true. But my actions looked like it was. So I had to be open, understand his viewpoint, grow, and say, this friendship isn't good for me. However, with any friend, I should be on time. With any friend, they should feel appreciated and respected, and that I value them. So I learned that. See, when the bond breaks, it is easy to be depressed. It is easy to blame everybody else. And I'm not saying that when you get cheated on or lied to, or I mean, I had a boss that promised me this, that, and the third, and I waited and I waited and I waited and I wrote a contract and they laughed in my face and they told me to have a nice day. But what I did after that, I respected them. I respectfully disagreed, and I wouldn't have done to them what they did to me, and I wouldn't lie to somebody, and I wouldn't screw somebody over. But I respected them. And to this day, if I saw them in public, I would say hello, I would smile, I would shake their hand, I'd ask them how their family was doing, and I would mean it. But what I learned from them is not everybody's honest. You can't trust everyone. And there's certain things that people will ask you to do. Like in their case, they're like, let's not sign a contract. Just trust our word. Nope. I tell everybody now, sign a contract. I learned that. Okay? I always in my gut am like, sign a contract, sign a contract. I'm the son of a lawyer. Sign a contract, sign the contract, sign the contract. Now, I had faith in them, and I had belief in them, and I had hope in them. And I'm not wrong for doing that. But I am wrong for not listening to my gut. And I tell people now, because we're supposed to all learn from each other, I tell people now, you sign a contract. I don't care how nice the person is. I don't care how much you trust them. I don't care if they come over for Sunday dinner. You have them sign the contract, because without a signed contract, you got nothing. Because even with a signed contract, some people have no respect for other people. And those people, I pray for them. I pray that they stop doing that, because, you know, what goes around always comes back around. And that is not me wishing bad on them or bad on anybody. It's me saying there's no way I'd be screwing people over in this world and thinking it's not going to hit me in the face at some point. So when the bond breaks, it's easy to get mad. It's easy to not have self-control. It's easy to not be who you are. It's easy to be depressed, right? I got broken up with before. Made me sad. Made me not want to get out of bed. I've been there. I've had friendships end. You don't know why. Makes you sad. Gave everything you could to the person. Told them you loved them. Was there for them. Treated them like a brother. When the bond breaks, the one place that I could tell you to find refuge where you're never going to be let down is God. God has never been late. Well, Dan, you wanted to get married years ago. That's not God's fault. God has never been late. God has never tuned me out. God has never told me, shut up, I don't care. God has never said, you're weak. God has never said, go figure it out. God has never said, oh, I didn't hurt you. You just don't have thick skin. God never abandoned me. God never forgot to pick me up. People will let you down. People will not show up. People will lie. People will cheat. People will steal. People will pathologically lie to themselves to the point where they can look you in the eye and not even know why you're mad at them after they do something horrible to you. I think the only thing worse than somebody doing something really hurtful to you is when they justify it or they totally ignore it and deny it like it even happened. You know, it's like they figuratively stab you. They're standing there holding the knife. You're bleeding out on the floor. And you look up at them and you say, why? And they go, why what? Or they go, you made me do it. People are going to let you down. They're going to confuse you. But people also can uplift you. People can also inspire you. I think it's important what to do when the bond breaks, when a friendship ends, when a relationship romantically ends, when a business partnership ends, to not say that every other business is garbage because this person was. Every other business is going to screw me over. Every other business is going to lie to me. Every other business is not going to pay me what they say they're going to pay me. Every other business is going to stress me out because these people. No, that was that person. And it might not even be that business. It might just be one person within that business. You might have a bad experience at a department store. And that doesn't mean all of them are bad. I might walk into a Target one day and somebody might be really rude and disrespectful. But does that mean that they're rude and disrespectful at the Target in Delaware and the Target in Florida and the Target in New York City? No. It means in that one, at that time, in that moment, that's what they did. And you know what the funny thing is? They could be one of the best employees that that Target has, but they just had a bad day. Maybe their mom passed away and somebody was just screaming at them about toilet paper. And they're sitting here going like, my mom died. I don't even know why I'm at work today. And then I come up and say, hey, do you know where the dog food is? And then they just like flip out or they're rude or they ignore me. And then I think, wow, that person's such a jerk. When in actuality, are they a jerk or are they having a really bad day? Because I don't see them every day. I don't know them every day. We're so close. We're so used to making judgment calls on people. But most of the time, we have no idea who these people are. Most of the people that we judge, we see on social media. We don't know them personally. We know the videos they put up. You know, you judge a person that you watch one time in one game in 30 some odd games, 40 some odd games of college basketball. You watch somebody one time and go, wow, that guy lost his cool. He's a loose cannon. What a jerk. That could be like the only time that they lost their cool in 17 years of playing basketball. Now, granted, how much did they lose their cool? They punch people in the face. What's going on? But, you know, there's a deeper piece to everybody. And most people that you judge, you're walking by once in your life, and you're never going to see them again. You know, which should remind you to always be the best that you possibly can be, because you never know how you're going to affect people. Because most people will only see you one time. But, you know, when those bonds break, I can't say, well, I've dated a bunch of people that have done crazy things and hurtful things and mean things and things that I couldn't even conjure up. And yet these people brought me to a scary movie that I never, ever want to live again. So every woman's bad. No, that's not true. It's not true. I was raised by a fantastic woman and my mom. My grandmothers loved me with everything they had. And they still love me up in heaven, and I feel that. Every woman's not bad. Mary, my other mom, Lori, Larissa, Marga, Marianne, my Annie Lane, you know, Nan. There's a lot of, you know, my buddies' wives that are so sweet. I mean, there's so many wonderful women, Christy, Pat, that I know, Angela, you know, there's Heather. There's so many wonderful people that I know. My vocal coach. So I can't sit here and say I dated a bunch of crazy people, so they're all bad. I can't say these businesses broke their contracts, lied to me, this boss treated me with disrespect, so they're all bad. I can't say one of my friends that I brought the closest into my life was not good to me and walked out of my life like he didn't even know me. So now all of my close friends, I need to be paranoid that they're going to walk away and they're going to leave. No, they're not them. And that person's been out of my life for almost a year. And what did all my other friends do? Nothing. They've stayed, loved me. They know that person walked out, and never once did they go, oh, well, then we should probably leave too. See, when the bond breaks, it's a really tough thing for you to deal with, because nobody wants to lose a friend. Nobody wants to get broken up with. Nobody wants a business to not keep their word. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants anybody to not keep their word. But it's going to happen. You don't want there to be a storm, but there's going to be a storm at some point in our lives. You don't want there to be a breakup, but there's going to be a breakup. You don't want to hear no, but you're going to hear no. The smartest, some of the smartest, most talented, educated, amazing, creative people on this planet historically have been told no, have been laughed at, have been ridiculed, blocked, treated disrespectfully, unfairly, and downright rude. And if they listen to any of those people when those bonds broke, you think Walt Disney didn't have friendships that broke or business partners that didn't screw him over? You think everybody at Sony gets along? You think that Marvel didn't go through ups and downs, and that you think everybody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and at Marvel Studios, you think they all get along? That no actor or actress ever had a hissy fit or a moment of just rudeness or selfishness? We look at things from the outside and we think, wow, that thing must be perfect. Nothing is perfect. So what do you do when the bond breaks? How do you deal with something that you love and care about coming to an end? It's a question that I'm asking you today. It's a question I'm asking myself. Can you have love for that person and it doesn't work out and you still wish them the best? Can you be generous? Can you be faithful? Can you be kind? Can you have self-control? When things don't go your way and the bond breaks, can you be happy that you experienced it, that you went through it? Because not everyone you date is going to be your spouse. Not every business you work with is going to be the place where you end up. Not every place you live is going to be the place you live for the rest of your life. Be it a house in the neighborhood and a different house that you move to, or you move to a totally different state or a different country. Not every friendship is going to withstand the test of time. One of the hardest things I ever had to deal with in my life is when somebody said, people come into your lives. Some people come in for a season. Some people come and they stay forever, and some people come in for a season. They're there for a finite amount of time, and then they're gone. And when I look back on some of my friendships, I think one of my friends that I kept around for such a long time, I think he was supposed to be there for a season. And I tried to force us to be together for our lifetime. But I wanted him to be there. I don't think he wanted to be there. As much as I wanted him to be there, I don't think he was all in. Because when I consider somebody a friend, that means something to me. If I consider you a brother, that's a tight circle. And if you walk out of that circle, well, you can't really walk back in. And it doesn't mean I don't forgive. It doesn't mean I don't believe in second chances. But when I call you my brother, that means I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. My brothers know I got you for life. You know, and that love, you want to have that back. But some bonds are going to break. And it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking to go through a breakup. It is heartbreaking to be alone. It is heartbreaking to have a friendship end. It is heartbreaking to have a boss tell you that you're not going to get the job. They hired somebody else. It's gut-wrenching to go through stuff like that. So I ask you, when the bond breaks, what do you do? Do you scream? Do you yell? Do you get into drugs? Do you get into alcohol? Do you go to all of these things outside of yourself to try and find a quick fix? Or do you seek the Lord? Do you seek God? Do you get down on your knees and pray? I don't care if you've never prayed. Do you pray in that moment? Do you ask for help? Do you reach out to the people that love you? Do you call your friends and your family? Do you say, I'm not okay, and that's okay that I'm not okay because I need to know that I'm going to be okay, and I first have to admit that I'm not okay so I can get okay? What do you do when it all goes wrong? What do you do when some of it goes wrong? What do you do when you think an unbreakable bond that can never be broken, when it breaks. Because we can tend to focus sometimes on the thing that didn't work out, but we don't look at everything else that did. I'm a single man in America. Like I said, I'm dating in the zombie apocalypse. I date very seldomly. I have not asked anybody to be my girlfriend in about a year. And I'm happy that I did that, because when I look back at the prospects, none of it would have lasted long at all, and it would have been a waste of time. And when I ask you to be my girlfriend, I'm not like this little kid, ha ha, boo hoo, I'm like in third grade. If I ask you to be my girlfriend, that's because I genuinely want to be with you, and I have a belief that we can have a future together. If I don't believe we can have a future together, there's no reason to put any type of label on it. And, being in the world that I'm in today, and I can sit here and say, I don't have a wife and kids. Okay, but what do I have? I have healthy family, healthy friends. I have friends that have become brothers, that have made me an uncle to their children. I'm a godfather. I tell jokes, people laugh. We have fun. I love making people laugh. I love seeing people joyful. I've built a business. I work for myself. We had our 10-year anniversary. We're about to have our 11-year anniversary. This November, I'm about to be a broadcaster for 20 years. 2 decades, which is insane. My mom's alive. My dad's alive. I have the best dog that could be a daughter in the world. I get to travel and live in my hometown. The best of both. Florida is my second home. I've made Florida into a hub for my company, the state of Florida. I've made New York a hub of my company, the main hub. I have reached out to almost every single state, if not every single state, in some way, shape, or form. I've connected with my family in Spain. God has given me everything and then some. The only thing I don't have is a wife and kids. But if I had married anybody else I dated, we probably wouldn't be together today. And what would that have been like for my kids? And if I had stayed with the person I was married to, I would have been unhappy. And what would that be like for me? To be one of the miserable people that I see in restaurants that are sitting there on their phone, and their wife's on their phone, and they're not talking, they're not looking at each other, they look miserable. See, when the bond breaks, we say, well, God doesn't exist. Because if God existed, this wouldn't have happened to me. Instead of saying, okay, God, I don't have that one thing I want, but I have everything I need. So what am I complaining about? So I challenge you today that if you're going through a friendship ending, a relationship romantically ending, a business partnership ending, that you check yourself and see where you could be better, where you went wrong, that you're not beating up on yourself, you just are constructively looking at how you can improve your life, because we should always be seeking to be the best we can be toward ourselves and others. Because why be anything else than your best, and why be anything other than kind? And look at everything you have. If you are alive to have a problem, you are blessed. If you are alive to have a problem, you are blessed. Would you rather be alive and have something not go right, or be 6 feet under and have no chance for anything to go right or wrong? It's not easy to go through adversity, but it's a lot easier than being dead. So things happen that are not great, and people say and do things that are not great. And we say, why, God, why? Because we don't get it. But if you're alive with your faculties and your voice and your ability to, through sign language or any language, look up at God and say, why? Be happy that you're here to ask the question. And you might not get an answer. You might get one you don't like. But at least you're alive. Nobody wants to see the end of something that we care about. But what do they always say? The effort that someone puts in lets you know exactly how they feel about you. And sometimes we're scared to see it because we already know the answer. But let's not worry about the bonds that break where the effort on the other side wasn't there. Be the best you can be and sleep peacefully knowing that bonds will break and bonds will build, and some will stay forever and some will stay for a season. But as long as you are a builder and not a breaker, as long as you are trying to, and that doesn't mean you don't walk away from bad situations and toxic situations, but as long as you are giving your all, loving, being kind, generous, faithful, you have self-control, you're gentle, as long as you are giving the best you can, when things don't go your way, at least you know if you're putting the effort in and they don't, then yeah, it's going to hurt for a little while. But eventually, your heart and your mind are going to get on the same team, and you're going to realize some bonds break so that better ones can be built. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Today's topic, what to do when the bond breaks. Proudly brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Head out there today because it's not just Chick-fil-A. When it's run by Jimmer Sikowski, it's a totally amazing experience. The Chick-fil-A experience, on top of that, the Jimmer feel to it. And that makes Chick-fil-A even better. I wish everyone that ever went to a Chick-fil-A got to meet Jimmer. I love you, brother. We'll take a step aside and we'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general. I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It is always my honor and my privilege to be hanging out with you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And, of course, you know our trio of signature segments that come to you every single Friday inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. And we've brought you the Annoying Moment of the Week presented by Carvel DeWitt, with the home of the DT Dolphin, my signature Sunday. We brought you Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And now they have the thing that they had down in Florida that we've never had up here, and now we have it up here. The spicy chicken biscuit breakfast. Get it, baby, get it. Spicy chicken, buttery biscuit, Polynesian sauce. Change your life for the better. And of course, the top dog of the week, where it's proudly presented by the wonderful team at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. There's no better place to bring your dog. I put my money where my mouth is with all of my wonderful companies I work with, and Lily has frequented the wonderful team with Lorraine and Chad and everybody, and I cannot thank them enough. Lorraine gives Lily the queen treatment, which she's very used to. And I cannot thank them enough. The dog boarding, every dog gets their own cabin. They get their own bed. They get their own, water bowl and their food, so nobody's messing with them. They can hang out by themselves, or they could play with other dogs inside. They have turf outside. They have different, things that the dogs can play with and interact with. And the team of wonderful people are always, playing with the dogs and trying to keep them energized and happy and excited because, obviously they're sad, right? If Lily and I aren't together, then I miss her, she misses me. And so they try to keep the dogs focused, keep them happy, give them something fun to do. And they're just amazing. And every dog that comes in, they do a background. They make sure there's a good temperament because they not only want your dog to feel safe, they want other dogs around your dog to feel safe. And they want families to feel safe dropping off their dogs for the daycare and dog boarding. So they take that attention to detail, which is extremely important in any walk of life. And they're just run by fantastic people. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare, 315-437-7110. And that's 315-437-7110 for the daycare. And then to book the campground for dog boarding, which you want to do well ahead of time, especially here in the summer. Really any time during the year. 315-299-4013 for the dog boarding for your dog to have their own cabin for longer term care. That's 315-299-4013. Both located in East Syracuse, right off the highway. Very easy for you, across from BJ's Wholesale Club. So make sure you get in touch with them today. They bring you the top dog of the week. And my top dog of the week, well, he's on the phone with me right now. He didn't know I was doing this because I like to do this to Ross. Since we became friends in 2008, I like to not tell him most of the things that I'm doing that involve him. And the reason why I do that is because then he can't tell me no. And so I have the opportunity today, and I've done this in my life, and I hope he knows this even when we're not talking and we don't see each other. Ross is one of my best friends. I consider him my brother, and he would call me from Forrest Gump his best good friend, and Lieutenant Dan, of course. What's up, Gary Sinise? I see you. So, but Ross, to me, from 2008, we became friends at a time where our mutual friend had passed away, Sarah Beth George. And Sarah was all about bringing people together. And so when people say, how do you know God exists? How do you know heaven exists? How do you know that there's life after death? Because Sarah was still doing what she did so great after she passed away. And she gave me one of my best friends. We sat down, we had a sandwich. I still remember I think I had like roast beef. I remember there was mustard on there. I remember that Ross couldn't open his mustard packet and I helped him. I mean, I remember sitting. I remember the room we were in, sitting across from him, being at the end of the table. I still remember all that from 2008. And now, 15 years later, why am I honoring him as the top dog of the week? Because a lot of people say what they're going to do. Ross never told me he was going to be a good friend. Ross never told me he was going to get in touch with me. He was going to call me. He was going to text me. He was going to think of me. He was going to, go out of his way to make sure that I know I'm appreciated. He never said he was going to be good at being a friend. He just did it. And at a time where I was going through a breakup that was really heartbreaking, and in the last segment in Lead, when I spoke about the topic when the bond breaks, when that bond broke, I'm not going to lie about it. I don't lie about anything. That girl broke my heart. I thought. And it was a really tough thing to go through. Ross was the next to God, under God, Ross was the main thing that got me out of it. He was the main reason why I got out of bed, stood up, and cleaned myself off and got out of the house. If not for God and Ross, and obviously myself and believing in myself, loving myself, but there were some really dark moments, some really tough times, and Ross knows it. I would call up and cry, I'd call up and yell, I'd be fine one week and not fine for the next 2 weeks. And he showed up to my house, he answered his phone every time, he texted me back, and sometimes he told me the same thing a million times over, but he was always there. And if you have a friend who will be there for you in your toughest moments, your hardest moments, that you don't have to ask to be there, you don't have to beg to be there, that is willing to listen to you repeat yourself, listen to you cry, listen to you yell, when they give you the same advice and you don't take it a million times and they keep giving it to you, if you have a friend that never gives up on you, you have a top dog. And so I know it's the top dog of the week, but Ross has been the top dog of 15 years of my life. And with that being said, I welcome my buddy onto the show. Ross, how are we doing?
Hello, Jamie. Thank you for that great introduction. I don't think I necessarily deserve that introduction. I'm very humbled by it. I love our friendship, and it's been a great 15 years. I hope there's 15 more and many more to come after that. But no, it's great to be your buddy, and I know that you're a great person on and off the air and all the things you're doing, and great broadcaster. Even if I wasn't a great friend of yours, I would say you're just an amazing job doing the coverage that you do for all sports, all levels of sports, whether it be professionally, collegiately, whether it's D1, D3, high school level, it doesn't matter. You give it the great coverage it deserves. It's kind of my philosophy when I cover sports. I treat covering a Little League baseball game like it's Game 7 of the World Series to decide who's going to be the champion of the world. And you just give it that kind of attention and care, and I think people notice that. And you're able to connect with people on a very personal level, and I think you're able to get your guests, when you interview them, to share things that maybe they didn't even intend on sharing with you, close personal information, because you put them at ease and you get them to just talk to you like your friend that you've known for 20 years. And eventually some of them become your friends, and others, they can be total strangers. But on the air, you let them get their guard down just a little bit because they're at home and they feel safe when you're talking with them, because you're able to relate with people on all sorts of levels. And that's just a great skill and a great thing that you have. And I'm very always have been impressed of that. And I try to just emulate that just a tiny bit. But yeah, just keep up what you're doing. I'm so excited with all the cool things you're doing, and how even Lemoyne College now is going to be Division I, and that's awesome. And then you're on the ground floor with that, having a great partnership with them. So many bigger and better things to come. So I'm very excited for all you're going to do. And it's exciting stuff now. Going through the summer, almost fall, going to be ready to cover fall, all the great sports in the fall, especially Syracuse football and all they're going to do. And I know for myself, I'm going to be very busy, coaching at the collegiate level at Luzerne County Community College. So that's hard to fathom that we're only about 2 months away, and I'll be conducting practices and scrimmages. So it'll be a very hectic, crazy time, but I will always make time for you, buddy. And I promise to always shoot you straight and give you my all when I'm on air, and I just have to do the PG-13 version so I don't get in trouble. That's about it. I won't go PG or G-rated. I won't go that far, but PG-13 rated should be good enough. I'll have to keep the rated R stuff for off-air purposes.
No, and I appreciate those kind words, and it means the world to me. It is no, there's people that people can look to and say, Bob Costas inspires me, and Stuart Scott inspires me, and Jim Nance, and so on and so forth, and Vin Scully. But when push comes to shove, the reality of it all is you inspire me. And it's one thing to, and yeah, I mean, they've had influence, definitely Stuart Scott especially in my life, and it means a lot to me. But it's one thing when you say, I'm inspired by these total strangers, and that's a beautiful thing. It's another thing where it's like, I'm inspired by my best friend, and he inspires me every day. And he inspires me when he doesn't even know that he's inspiring me. So, to me, I think I'm really spoiled because
it's an incredible thing, and I always I have my older brother, I have a little brother, a little sister, so I have lots of siblings, but I never thought I'd have, as cliche as it is, as much as Vin Diesel uses it to exploit people for billions of dollars. People stop watching these Fast and Furious movies. If you stop watching them, he'll stop making them because no one will come watch them. No one will pay him $20 million a movie to make them, or whatever ungodly number he makes. But yeah, I gained a family member. I gained another brother when we connected and started hanging out together. So it's awesome to see what you've done over these years, and it's still very cool when we get a chance. It's not as often as we'd like, but last summer we got to see a very horrible, funny, very stupid, funny movie like the Thor Love and Thunder movie with my kids, and that
awful,
was
awful.
And LJ was running up and down the walkway there, running across the screen. He actually made the movie a little bit better, because that movie was just a train wreck and very stupid, funny, more than it should be from what you're supposed to take seriously about cancer and love and loss and God the Butcher, Christian Bale cutting people apart and ripping them apart, but yet you're not scared by any of it because they're just saying silly jokes all the time. And Zeus is walking around, with his big tummy and almost half naked. So it's quite a crazy movie, but something like that, which is a fun, hilarious time that I got to share with my kids and with you. And it was just a fun time with, as Vin Diesel would say, with the family. And it was a great time. So little things like that, no matter how busy I get, no matter how busy you get, it's nice to take the time. When I send you those silly attachments, different news stories, whether it be for your entertainment page and all the things you're doing. And I love seeing all the merchandise that you guys put up on the website. Very much looking into some of that stuff because that looks really cool. Just chill wear that when you're just hanging out. And then there's some like classy like business wear. There's just so much stuff. There's like luggage stuff, duffel bags. It was really cool. There was even I saw it was very hard at times not to like laugh a little bit, but I'm like it's kind of cool. I think there was like a tank top for a puppy on there. I'm like, there was some cool stuff on there. I'm like, it was funny. And then I was picturing like a bunch of puppies in my life wearing cool tank tops. I'm like, yeah, they should have the right to wear tank tops and sunglasses so they can be suns out, guns out. And I think that would be hilarious. So they deserve the fun excitement of summer as well. So not just Barbie and Ken for that upcoming movie that I'm sure is going to be a train wreck. But hey, it's fun things like that. And like I said, no matter how busy we get, it's nice to take the time to be the people you care about and people you love. So it's just excited to catch up with you and get to talk, whether it be sports, life, something that's in between, if it's arson and coke, whatever it goes by. And I kind of like flying by the seat of my pants when we're on the air because I have no idea exactly where we're going to go. I have an idea, but that outline usually gets thrown out the window within 5 minutes of less than 5 minutes of us starting our conversation.
Yeah, and again, I mean, thank you for all those kind words. I mean, you inspire me in who you are as a dad and who you are as a husband. You inspire me in how you treat people in general and how you treat your family and your, forgiveness, your kindness, your generosity, the fact that, as much as you work full time and you're taking on another job and you have a wife and you have kids, you still have never lost your passion for the Jets. You go out to more games than people that live down the street from it, arguably, and you go out to the Yankee games, you go to Steelers games. I mean, you are literally living the life, and it's such a wonderful thing to see. I love having you on the show, and you've helped me with anything. I don't think you've ever said no to me, and I think with anything that any idea I've had work wise, and you've always tried it. And it's when you have a friend who just always wants to help and always wants to be there. I asked myself that question. I was watching the movie Top 5, which I totally forgot about, with Chris Rock, and I suggest that everybody watches this movie. It's called Top 5. It's on Paramount Plus. You might be able to get it some other places, but it's about Chris Rock playing. He's basically playing himself, but he's got a different name. His name is Andre Allen, and he's a comedian who doesn't want to be funny anymore, or he doesn't think he can be. He's a recovering alcoholic, and I don't know if that's any of Chris Rock's history, but he's this comedian that's not a comedian anymore, and he's doing this serious movie, and he gets interviewed by the Times and Rosario Dawson, who's a longtime crush of mine, and so watching the movie is great, but there's every part of the movie has its own kind of awesome moment, and kind of listen to this and watch this moment and take something from it. But there's a moment where they go into an apartment, and all of these people that know Chris are in the apartment. So he walks in as Andre Allen, and there sits Leslie Jones, Jay Farrow, Michael Che, Tracy Morgan, and it's this really cool.
By the way, they can do funny impersonations. Jay Farrow, go on YouTube, check out some of his impersonations of even serious guys like Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson. He is hilarious. He was underutilized on Saturday Night Live a few years back when he was on that. He's done a few shows since. Jay Farrow, to me, should be a bigger star than he is, because he can play anyone. He can impersonate anyone's voice or accent. And I just think he's one of the most hysterical people on the whole planet, and doesn't get enough notice.
No, he doesn't. And Leslie Jones, she has a great ability of her facial comedy, her scare you comedy. At one point, Chris Rock's leaving, and she goes, "Hey," and she yells something to him, and she's like, "All right, son," and she looks dead in the face. But it's those moments like that. I mean, Tracy Morgan, when Chris Rock goes, he's talking about Tracy Morgan. He's like, man, this man's allergic to jobs. Whenever he feels a job coming on, he takes job Benadryl, and he's just popping them Benadryl, and they're doing their top 5, hip hop rap people of all time and groups, but the point I was gonna make is that Chris Rock in this movie he's with this buddy who's there for him, and I'm guessing this person's probably his manager now, but he goes with him everywhere. He goes with him in the car. He carries an umbrella if he thinks it's going to rain. He's always helping him out. And it was funny because there's this one part in the movie, and this isn't ruining anything, but they start to walk, and Rosario Dawson goes, "Hey, that woman would have never noticed you if your bodyguard wasn't around." And he's like, "He's not my bodyguard. He's my friend. We've been together since 3rd grade." And then she's like, "Well, if you're afraid to do an interview with me without your guy around here, then that's fine." And then he tells the guy "Hey, just text me the information that I need to know, and I'll see you at the next event. I'm going to walk." And so he's walking with Rosario, and he says to Rosario, he said he's afraid. He's like, he's worried that I'm going to need him. And she said, no, he's worried that you're not. And it's this friend that's there and always looking out for him. And he won't tell him what to do, but he hopes that he'll see it. And he tries to lay enough of a foundation of I'm going to help you, but I'm going to let you make your own decisions. And I thought to myself, do I have a friend that would go on the road with me? Do I have a friend that would be there for me and be there if I was doing stand-up, be there if I was opening a movie, be there if I was doing something with sportscasting. Would I have somebody that would look out for me and carry an umbrella and never want me to not need them and all that stuff? And then I was like, yeah, Ross. Like, he's always been there. So when I watched the movie, that character made me think of you because of, Chris Rock never had to ask him. And even when he didn't want him to be there or thought he could do it on his own, that guy was there no matter what. And he said to him at one point, he goes, next time, just make sure I'm the first phone call. And so I love the movie. It's hilarious. It's funny. It also has like a great hope for like romance at the end, which I love that stuff. But
that's very poignant.
Yeah.
That's really deep, much deeper meaning, that to have someone in your life who has your back through thick and thin, no matter what. It's very hard to find that in this world. And if you can find one person, 2 or 3 is amazing, but even just one person who has your back, who wasn't even like your brother or sister, doesn't even share the same blood as you. You weren't born in the same household, but you find that out in this world. That's something that you need to cherish and hold on to, because it's very rare to find that in this world.
Absolutely. So with that being said, the duo is here. Arson, a.k.a. Ross. Coke, a.k.a. me. We took those names. We created this months ago when there were typos for Aaron Judge and Cole Hamels, and there's this guy getting blasted for making a mistake because apparently you can't do that. The funny thing about today's culture is the people that yell and laugh and try to cancel people that make mistakes are also people that make a ton of mistakes that never want to be reprimanded for their mistake. So they point their finger at the mistake. Yeah. You made a mistake. What'd you say?
I said you can't even dare call out some people who are that like thin skinned. Like if they make a mistake, they would freak out. They get so upset and have this like fake rage if you call them out on that. But they love to pick apart your tweets, what you post on social media. It's ridiculous. It's very toxic behavior.
Yeah, they're babies. They're babies is what they are. They haven't grown yet. Their skulls are still very soft. And, we're just hoping that they can get themselves to a point where they can actually grow up a little bit and realize that you cannot do to someone else that you would not like done to yourself. I mean, you can, but when it comes back, you can't complain about it. So Arson and Coke was born out of finding a positive and funny way to, speak about 2 honest typos that this guy got reamed for that I thought was totally outrageous and ridiculous. So, we're not making fun of his typos at all. I just saw it as an opportunistic thing for, Ross to become Arson and for me to become Coke. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're
living up your Tony Montana fantasies. That's why I think you chose Coke and I get to be Arson. I get to light things up and you get to say hello to my little friend.
I get to come on the air and always talk like this, who wants Pepsi when they can get a little bit of Coke?
You know what I mean? It's fun. It's fun for me. And
straight up David Caruso from CSI Miami takes the sunglasses off and puts them on and goes, and they start playing those noises. I remember watching he looked right into the camera. I'm like, what is going on? Is he doing this ironically, or is he just this much of a D-bag that he's supposed to be playing? And that's when you do that voice, that's what I'm thinking of. David Caruso, CSI Miami. If you don't remember it, take a look on YouTube and you'll laugh hysterically.
Well, there's part of me that it's like, and it's, I mean, just things that go through my head in the moment like this did, where it's like, where you would say to me, 1 + 1 is always 2. And I'd be like,
not in 2023.
So like, I mean, it's true. Some people think 1 + 1 is whatever you want it to be. And I think those people should be institutionalized. But with that being said, speaking of institutionalized, your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, wants to legalize psychedelics. Can we talk about that?
Very big fan of it.
You're a fan of it, you said.
No, I said I'm not a fan of it. I said he's a big fan of it. I heard he's supposed to going to speak at one of these conventions for ayahuasca and all these psychedelics, and he believes in this very much. He believes that rather than all the painkillers that people get addicted to and how harmful they are, and some people say that a lot of it's legalized or decriminalized where people are smoking marijuana or doing edibles and things like that. Like that seems to be getting more attention. Maybe the NFL will stop testing for that and ruin people's lives and careers by having them suspended for taking marijuana. But he's going to the next level. He's saying, forget just marijuana, the Mary Jane. He wants you to take the mushrooms and the psychedelics and the ayahuascas where you're like taking a trip on another planet and you're hanging out with like aliens in space. He believes in that stuff. He did the dark retreat for 4 days where he paid top dollar to pretend he was in total darkness so he could decide if he wanted to play football or not. But really, he just wanted to get away from Green Bay and go to play in the limelight of New York City. So it was ridiculous that anyone pays that much money to pretend they're just in total darkness and solitude. And in many ways, he's become kind of a hippie, part of the hippie culture. And I'm gonna root like heck for him. Hope that for the 1 or 2, maybe 3 years, if we're lucky, that he's a Jet. I hope he accomplishes amazing things. But I'll be the first to admit, he's very trippy. He's not the button-down quarterback that most quarterbacks and team leaders are, for better or for worse. Hopefully it works out for the Jets. It's going to be a short-lived window that they have to win because then they're back to being the stinky Jets again. So you just have to hope a new 40-year-old quarterback can stay healthy and be productive. But it is a little troubling when whether it's healthy or not, he truly believes in these psychedelic drugs, that it makes you healthier and more spiritual and more in tune with the world and heal from injuries and all that. It's yet to be seen if that stuff is true.
To heal from injuries, he just can't feel the injury. That's what that's all it is. I mean, it's a temporary high. If you're taking drugs, which I have not done, but for argument's sake, for what I've seen in movies, if you're taking drugs and your arm breaks off and you're on some psychedelic, you could be like, whoa, my arm's broken, but I can't even feel it. Yeah, your arm's still broken. You just don't know it's broken. You can't feel the pain, but it doesn't mean it's not. I think that it's been proven historically over time that drugs, alcohol, sex with random people, that temporary highs never provide long-term healing. I think that's been proven already, Aaron, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're very much right with that. I think people are looking for a different fix and trying to figure out what to do that's not just take a bunch of pills and things like that. So I get that people are looking for other, maybe healthier alternatives, but it's yet to be seen how proven these alternatives are. And like I said, it is a little troubling that the team leader that we're banking on for this next 1 to 2 year short window,
psychedelic.
He wants to speak at a psychedelic convention. Like Tom Brady, let's be honest, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, they would star quarterbacks who won lots of championships. They would never be speaking as the guest keynote speaker at a psychedelic drug convention. It's just a different kind of quarterback, and they won a lot. And it's a little troubling that Aaron Rodgers, that this stage of his career, you just want him to do really well for the short period of time he's going to be my Jets quarterback, and you have no idea what he's going to be doing. You have no idea what he's going to say. This is the guy who like wink said, with the vaccination thing, when you had to be vaccinated, he cost his team a game because he had to be suspended a game because he had to do a 10-day quarantine because he's like, I'm immunized, and that was his wink that he was vaccinated, and turned out he lied about that. So he has made some questionable choices, and it's still very troubling whether they're great, whether it's all his fault or their fault, or a combination of two, which probably is. He's also supposedly, and his family badmouths him, he's basically divorced himself from his family, which is kind of weird, that his brother, who could be an opportunist, I think his name is Jordan Rodgers, who was in The Bachelor, he supposedly has no relationship with Aaron Rodgers. The whole family has no relationship. It's very strange to have that where they're not connected at all. And that's a little troubling that he's cut himself off from everyone except whatever he's into at the moment, which right now are the psychedelics.
Yeah, and I think if Peyton Manning was speaking at a psychedelic convention, he would call an audible and ask everybody to stop. And that convention would he would be out here and he'd be like, this is how he'd snap everybody out of the psychedelic. Everybody be in there, he'd be like, y'all need to stop. That's what Peyton would go for. He'd be like, you need to stop doing the drugs. And his way of getting everybody in is at the end of he'd be, Omaha! So that's how he'd get everybody out. You say Omaha, we're out of it. But, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is the opposite of a DARE officer. And, I remember my DARE officer that came in and reminded me of Carl Winslow from Family Matters, which was awesome because I love that show. And I still remember my Dare Officer. Maybe Aaron Rodgers never had one, and maybe he needs one. We did get a question that came in here, Ross, and we got a bunch of them. Now, what is our take on the Jets being selected for NFL Hard Knocks? The Jets, with all the drama that they already have, this adding more fuel to the fire, but the response was, this is adding more fuel to the fire, but then again, you're arson. So does it make sense that there's more fuel on the fire here? What are your thoughts of the Jets being on Hard Knocks? I know I'll give mine after you, but you're a Jets fan, knowing that they're going to be followed around. Now, it's already happened before. The Jets were on Hard Knocks on HBO in SUNY Cortland, and I was there for that. My dad was there for that. Like, I got to see it firsthand. The cameras were right behind me. So what's your take if they get put on Hard Knocks again?
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I didn't know that was made official or not. That'd be kind of interesting.
If it happened, yes. If it happened.
Yeah, but yeah, as someone who wants I joke, as Joker said, watch the world burn for chaos purposes, just for the hilarity, I think it'd be must-see television. It's usually only 5 or 6 episodes, so it's every week, right up until the opening game of the season. And I just think it'd be madness. It might not help the Jets' chances in terms of actually the goal of winning, but I think it would be so exciting to see. And as I said, you have no idea what Aaron Rodgers will say, so that's going to be compelling television. And I'm sure they'll find rookies and interesting players and all the Green Bay Packer players that he's brought over to New York. And then you have these star rookies. They were really the only team ever to have Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year with Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. So there's so much talent involved on that team, but it's also like a powder keg because there's pressure. They basically now have to win now in these next 2 years or it's over. So there's so much pressure right now, and it's just going to be very interesting to see how that would work. I would love to see it. What I would say is I don't think it's best for the team, but I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it would be there'd be hilarious moments, and so if they're just looking for straight up ratings, I think that's the way to go. And I was a little troubled because it looks like the NFL is having a hard time getting someone to commit to do Hard Knocks because they don't want to be bothered during the season. Right. They claim that they went to the Detroit Lions, who just did it last year, and said, "Do you want to do it again? Do you want to run it back?" And I don't know if the Lions want to do that. They have a very compelling coach who, when he did his introduction press conference to him, he was going to bite someone's leg off and everything. But they're an up and coming team. The Lions are going to play the opening game of the season against the world champion Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs coming up at the beginning of September. But I don't know if that makes sense that you have to make a team do it 2 years in a row. And now they're even doing in-season Hard Knocks, where they did the Arizona Cardinals this year, the Colts last year, to see them make a run while they're during the season. This is, of course, preseason. So I think they're having a hard time actually getting teams to do it. And I think if you have a certain amount of wins or a certain run in the playoffs, they can't make you do it. But if you're a bad team, they can force you to do it. So it's very strange that the NFL has rules basically saying if you're really good, and that might be a fun team to watch, like a compelling team. Like, let's see the Kansas City Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, and the controversy with Pat Mahomes' wife and his TikTok star brother, who people don't like, Jackson Mahomes. Like that, they're such a good team. They don't have to be on it, but the bad teams that stink, those are the teams that we can force you to do it. So it is a little weird that Hard Knocks and the NFL are having a hard time to get teams to do it, and they can only force the crappy teams to do it. And right now, my Jets are coming off a year where they looked like they were going to the playoffs, 7-4 with 6 games to go, and they lost 6 games in a row because they didn't have a functioning quarterback because they had, Mike White tried his best, and then you had the train wreck of Zach Wilson. Remember, if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, we're one play away from our 40-year-old quarterback going down, and you have to trust that Zach Wilson, who basically is acting like Stifler from American Pie, that he's just obsessed with Stifler's mom and can't play on the field, and he's not mature, doesn't take any blame when they lose and play like garbage. That's who you're going to rely on, and you're back to a horrible losing team if Aaron Rodgers goes down. And at any moment, he gets banged up, especially later in his career now that he's getting older, that can happen, and then the Jets are screwed. So it'd be interesting to tell, and it'd also be interesting to hear Zach Wilson, if you can catch him in a moment, being honest, how does he feel about basically being replaced and being told, we don't trust you anymore, we're going to take a 40-year-old quarterback to be the star, and his career is now in doubt, and he was a top draft pick, and he said going into this that whoever was going to be the veteran quarterback who was going to be brought in to replace him, that Zach Wilson was going to make their life a living hell. And we know Aaron Rodgers doesn't really want to work with Jordan Love and really be the tutor of them and train them to be the heir apparent and get better at quarterback. So how would that relationship go on Hard Knocks? And would you see any true colors of them really being nasty, of Aaron Rodgers being the star, getting all the attention, not caring about teaching Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson being jealous and envious and maybe talking trash behind the old man's back? That could be very compelling television.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, it's going to be compelling television. It was compelling television when Rex Ryan was the head coach, and I was there for it. I mean, we know that the Jets are going to put on a show because, as I said many years ago, and I'm going to copy and paste it from when Rex Ryan was there, I said the Jets aren't a football team anymore. They're a Broadway show. And now so they would be, and so I echo that they would continue to be a show, and just like Sex and the City and anything else on HBO, I mean, people are going to watch it. But the change is that in the last few years they've drafted really well. And I told everybody Sauce Gardner because I covered him at Cincinnati. So him being Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year, not surprised. And then Garrett Wilson, I said no one's standing in front of him. He's going to be the number one wide receiver as a rookie for the Jets. And he got Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he deserved it. So, Jermaine Johnson II, I covered him at FSU. So, and then obviously having Breece Hall and him coming back healthy, the Jets are going.
So, if everything meshed, everything goes well, which my Jets probably won't happen. But if they stayed healthy with all that talent, the sky's the limit. They could really do some damage in the NFL this year, and in a positive way, win this time. Not just do damage by getting scandals and being a horrible team, but what are the chances that everything is going to swing their way and no one's going to basically make this whole powder keg combust and it will all go up in flames?
Right, and so that's the thing. But this is how I look at it. The Jets are always going to make for good television because that's what this franchise has done. But the issue that I have and why I think it's so hard for HBO to get somebody to do Hard Knocks is because of the fact that it's disruptive. It's disruptive because you're trying to film like a Bravo dramatic television show, The Real Housewives of the Jets. You know what I mean? You're trying to, House Husbands. You're trying to film this.
They're trying to get work done.
Right.
And trying to be a winning team. And then these guys, HBO just wants to get ratings. So they're trying to get juicy stuff that might make the team implode because they might want to get something that's caught off, that's supposed to be off camera, that might not be very good. It might be inappropriate, that can cause a scandal, and that can tear apart the team before the season even starts.
Right. So that's my issue. My issue is the fact that when they say, well, why has it been hard for the past many years for HBO to find anybody to do Hard Knocks? And it's because if I'm a coach, I don't want you there all the time. And I don't want you there in training because they're there in training camp and they're there all the way through training camp and the preseason. I don't want you to be a part of this. If you want to, I'll put it to you like this. No team, I believe I'm right in saying this, no team that has ever been on Hard Knocks has won the Super Bowl that year. Many teams,
I really think you're correct.
many teams weren't in the playoffs that were on Hard Knocks. Or if they made it to the playoffs, they didn't get that far. So
it's very rare. And
right.
Remember, they show you they tell you right until the start of opening day. Like they show you when they're starting to cut players for better or for worse. You see people, and sometimes fun television, but it's also very sad. They'll see players their whole career gets thrown up in smoke because you see a guy, his whole livelihood is thrown away because the guy gets cut, and it makes for must-see television. But it's a tough watch. Can you imagine it being a loved one watching these very sad moments, and it's all caught on camera? When they get injured, when they lose their jobs, it's brutal. And I get why they do it. And the NFL wants ratings, HBO, it's entertainment business. But it is tough, and I think you're 100% right. I don't think anyone's won the Super Bowl, and I don't think anyone's made a deep playoff run who's been on Hard Knocks that given season.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, if you're featured on the show, it doesn't work. I don't feel like it works for you. I feel like it works against you. And I can understand about, now listen, I know football, I know institutions, not just football, but I know institutions that are really ridiculous when it comes to, letting people in, and their policies are just off the wall. it's like they think that they're like hiding the nuke codes or something like that. And so to me,
talking to Bill Belichick lately, because I feel like that's what him and the Patriots would be like. It'd be like nothing gets out of that building because it's like you're in the military. It's all a secret, need to know information.
Bill Belichick would be like, hey, I need to see everything you filmed this entire day. I'll cut the film down and hand it to you. And they got like 23 hours of film out of 24 hours, and they hand it to Bill, and he hands them back a 2-minute clip of like guys walking in and out. And then he's like, wait a second. When the guys were walking out of the bathroom onto the field, one of the guys actually didn't have his pants up to where they were supposed to be. And then another guy couldn't practice today. So you're going to have to cut all that. So he'll take the 23 hours, make it 2 minutes, and then he'll cut that 2 minutes down to 1:17 because he doesn't want to show that one of the guys couldn't make practice that day.
Remember, this is the same guy that will have a guy who he'll make him.
Oh, and he wants all that film. He wants to keep all that. Yeah.
He'll film the other team.
No, this is what it is.
He'll film them on the sidelines and steal their important information in their plays.
Let's be real about this. The one person that wants Hard Knocks more than HBO to be the Jets is Bill Belichick, so that he can have film on the Jets all the way up to the start of the season. I think Bill Belichick was filming his own Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, and that's why, he was filming the Jets sideline. I think he was trying to, like Tom Brady, prepare for the next portion of his life and the next piece of his career, his new chapter. So was Bill Belichick really taping people to cheat, or is Bill Belichick trying to see if he could become a director someday?
Whatever advantage he can get, like care what he has to steal. He's a great coach, but let's be honest still, without Tom Brady as his quarterback, he's been an under 500 coach with the Cleveland Browns, with the New England Patriots. I'm not saying he's not a great coach and a great defensive mind, but without Tom Brady, he's a very mediocre coach. He would not be a Hall of Fame coach without Brady. Brady made him more than he made Brady. I get it was a mutual relationship, but I think it was more Brady. Now that we've seen it, it looks like it was more Brady than it was Belichick. And I wonder how he'll be able to relate. You told about he's so buttoned up, Belichick. How is he going to relate with Juju Smith-Schuster? How will Juju behave? Because Juju with the Steelers and then last year won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs with that phantom holding call, which was terrible because they didn't give Jalen Hurts a chance with the Eagles to try to come back and get tied or take the lead late in that game in the Super Bowl. But Juju Smith-Schuster has been a TikTok diva, going crazy, saying wild things, getting himself in trouble when he was on the Steelers, especially trying to be like Antonio Brown Jr. almost. They were teammates in Pittsburgh, and of course, Antonio Brown imploded. Juju Smith-Schuster just signed a big free agency contract with the New England Patriots. How is Bill Belichick going to take it if he starts filming locker room private conversations? When they were in the locker room and Mike Tomlin would talk trash about like the opponent, and that's supposed to be private just for the team. What was it, Juju Smith-Schuster? He filmed it on his iPhone and posted it on like Instagram and TikTok. What will Bill Belichick do? Will Juju Smith-Schuster survive even the first half of the season if he even dared try something like that? I think Bill Belichick would have him escorted out of the building. Maybe we never would hear from him again. That's how crazy that'd be. So I'm very surprised that a guy like Bill Belichick and the Patriots, unless he's really softened at his older age, even would go after a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster to join his team with some of the crazy antics he's done in recent years.
Yeah, I don't think Bill Belichick softens. I think he just continues to harden. He's like cement. Like we thought that he was hard when he was like when we thought Bill Belichick over the years has been hard already when the cement wasn't even dry yet. And now, I mean, this man is solidifying himself over time. Listen, he wins. We know that he does that, but he has a different team now and a different look now, and his running backs outside of Ramondre Stevenson, and Juju has never proven that he's a number one guy. And, I mean, their team does not have number one guys on offense right now.
They didn't have the number one quarterback in Mac Jones because last year at times, I think his name was Billy Zippy or whatever the heck his name was.
Oh, Bailey Zappi, yeah.
I think at times Belichick, almost like Jimmy Garoppolo, he wanted Jimmy G to take Brady's job, and Brady got very angry. He was trying to get Billy Zappi or whatever to take Mac Jones' job. I don't even know if they have the right number one quarterback in the building. And if you don't have a top quarterback, you don't really have a team. So that's the other problem. Since Brady left, they don't have a field general at quarterback, and if they don't have the right signal caller, the Patriots are going nowhere. And they supposedly were desperate enough, as much as they claim they believe in Mac Jones, and they got, I think, Bill O'Brien back to be their offensive coordinator, used to be their offensive coordinator back when they were winning championships. They try to contact Aaron Rodgers to come to their team in all season and try to get that trade done with them and the Packers. As well, Aaron Rodgers said, no, thank you. He'd rather go to the Jets, even though they have more of a losing culture and haven't won anything in years, basically since with the Super Bowl 50-plus years ago and the back-to-back AFC Championship games under Rex Ryan with Mark Sanchez, when he was somehow able to do that with mostly defense and running because he's not a good quarterback. But basically, and that's the other thing, you're talking about hard knocks going to the Jets. You know Belichick, who hates the Jets, was the Jets head coach for one day after Bill Parcells left, and then resigned, that he would love to get some revenge on the Jets, and he went to the Patriots and beat up on the Jets for the year, and now Aaron Rodgers basically smacked him across the face and said, I'm not going to be on your team. You know Belichick is going to have an axe to grind and will love to take out Aaron Rodgers this year when they play each other.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely... I mean, again, it would be great television, but is it good for the Jets? No. And it's been the kiss of death, and I understand why it's been the kiss of death, because of the fact of when you're trying to make a reality TV show and you're trying to win in reality, they do not coincide. They don't go together. You can't have a reality TV Bravo dramatic show going on and at the same time try to win a Super Bowl. I mean, you could attempt to do it, but it doesn't work. And like I put out here publicly, no team that has ever been featured on Hard Knocks has won the Super Bowl that year that they were featured on the show. So we got more stuff to talk about, plenty coming up here. We'll jump into Major League Baseball after this. We'll finish off with some college football talk. Ross is joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, fellow sportscaster and writer, one of my best friends, and somebody I truly appreciate so very much. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this as we talk about another Aaron, this being Judge, and our thoughts on him making it to the All-Star game, despite the fact that he's been going through recent injury. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, spending some extra time with you here this morning, as we typically do. And we are inside of our conversation with my good buddy Ross Turetsky here. We talked about the NFL. We're going from Aaron Rodgers to Aaron Judge. Little bit different. Obviously, I'm being facetious. This is called sarcasm. Very different from what we see. And Aaron Judge has been voted to be an all-star. He's voted to be a starter, which Ross and I were talking about off the air. Obviously, the fans are a part of that, popularity contest. But your thoughts on him being voted as an all-star? I know we were discussing it off the air, but you obviously feel like it has significance for his history and obviously building up his Hall of Fame. We think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but building up his resume for the Hall of Fame. So, your thoughts on Aaron Judge not going to play, but being voted into the All-Star game as a starter. And then I'd love to jump into your thoughts on the Yankees, because I've been talking about it this week. I was asked what was wrong with the Yankees, and I have my own thoughts, but would love for you to share your thoughts on Aaron to the All-Star game and the Yankees in general.
Yeah, Aaron Judge, I have no issue at all with him being elected. As I said, this is a popularity contest. The fans vote, so I joked off air. If he would have played the first 3 games of the season and missed the next 100, he still would have been elected as an all-star game participant and a starter. So basically him and Shohei Ohtani, the superstar Japanese, basically call him the Japanese Babe Ruth, who pitches and hits great, and now leads Major League Baseball home runs with 29 this season. He might try to go after Judge's 62 home run American League record that he broke from Roger Maris last year, 61 years after he did in 1961. They're the most popular players in the sport, so they were going to be elected to the All-Star game no matter what. He had a terrific first half. He had a slight injury with his hip earlier in the year where he only missed like 10 days. And then when he came back, he was actually player of the month of May in the American League. He destroyed the ball. He has 19 home runs, and he's missed about a month of the season. So he was healthy. He'd probably be almost at 30 home runs now, just like Ohtani. So he had a great season. Offensively, defensively, and you said, I'll jump the gun a little bit, what's wrong with the Yankees? It's not all because of that, but it's a big reason Judge is out, is not there, and it lengthens the lineup. It takes a lot of pressure off the other guys, and the pitching has been fine. The bullpen has the best ERA in baseball. The starting rotation has been good, but offensively, without Judge, they're about 3 runs a game less than they normally do. They're lucky to score 1 or 2 runs a game, besides when they played the worst team in baseball, Oakland Athletics, who are going to be moving to Vegas soon. I feel bad for the fans of Oakland. Their owner's cheap, and they pocket a lot of the money, and now they're going to lose their team, just like they lost the Raiders. They did lose 2-1 on the first game of the series on Tuesday, but they couldn't score. But then they exploded with 11 runs and 10 runs, and then Domingo Germán threw a perfect game, the 4th ever perfect game for the Yankees, and 24th in baseball history. So it's a rare feat with all the games that have been played. And I'll give you this tidbit, even though I don't know if this is a good omen or if this will go out the window. Every time the Yankees, this is now their 4th perfect game. The 3 other times they've ever thrown a perfect game during a season, they won the World Series that year. 1956, Don Larson threw the only World Series perfect game. They won the World Series over the Brooklyn Dodgers before they moved to L.A. And then you had the 98 Yankees during their great run with Derek Jeter and the dynasty in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Joe Torre as the manager. 98, when David Wells threw a perfect game against the Twins, they won the World Series and had the best record with playoffs combined in baseball history for a season. They were one of the best teams ever, 98 Yankees. 99, David Cohn did it. They were for my brother's 16th birthday, July 18th, 1999, against the Montreal Expos, or now the Washington Nationals. They threw the perfect game. They won the World Series that year, swept the Atlanta Braves. And now, so that's the 3 previous times. So now this is the 4th time with Domingo Germán throwing a perfect game. Will history repeat itself, or will they finally have a blemish and not do it? So if they can get healthy, I know it's a big, long shot because there's so many good teams out there. Tampa Bay Rays are playing great, and you've been covering them. The Dodgers are still out there. The Astros, the defending champs, are still a terrific team. There's a lot of really good teams, but the Yankees are still holding on. They're 9 games over 500. They have one of the wild card spots because they expanded playoffs. Even if they can't get the division over Tampa with the AL East, right now I think 4 of the 5 teams in their division have a playoff spot. So the American League East is very competitive, but the Yankees are still in it. and they're playing the Cardinals this week, and they're playing some really bad teams they can hopefully beat up on. Their offense, they need guys to step up. They need Giancarlo Stanton, who's been a great MVP player in the years past, won the All-Star Game MVP last year. You need him to step up, and he gets hurt a lot as well. He's been struggling. Josh Donaldson's been struggling, where he hits a home run or strikes out every single time. So you need some of their veteran players to step up who have proven track records who are just not getting it done. Their rookie shortstop, Anthony Volpe, who grew up as a lifelong Yankee fan, who's now 22 years old and wants to be the next Derek Jeter, idolized him as a kid. He's been struggling, but he's been getting better of late. Harrison Bader now has come back healthy. Carlos Rodon's coming back healthy in the rotation. So basically, in my mind, the pitching has been fine. It's been mostly on the offense. They're not scoring out Aaron Judge. With Aaron Judge, they were doing great offensively. They were on a hot streak. They were doing very well. And then without him, they had times to be either get shut out 1-2 runs a game, and you can't really win when the pitcher has the pressure of basically I have to throw a shutout every night. The day on Wednesday night when Domingo Germán threw the perfect game for the Yankees against the bad Oakland Athletics, I know people joking they're basically like a single A team with how bad they're basically minor league players out there, how cheap they've been, not paying their top players, and they lose them. That basically when Domingo Germán was pitching, I'm like, the only way he's going to win is if he throws a shutout. Little did I know that he ended up throwing a perfect game that day, so he took care of business, and they actually scored 11 runs. It was the largest margin for a perfect game win in baseball history, the 11-0 score. But that's the thing. The offense needs to kick up into high gear. They need to stay healthy, and they need to be able to pick up the slack with guys who've done it in the past, but they're getting a little older, they're aging. You need Giancarlo Stanton, you need Josh Donaldson, you need DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo. Those guys, besides staying healthy, they have to be productive on the field, because they do have the talent if they're not totally passed over the hill, and if they can pick up the pace. But they have to do it, because without Aaron Judge there, it really has put a spotlight on how mediocre this offense is when they're not clicking, and these guys, maybe they're getting too old and they're getting towards the end of their career, but some of them are stuck with very high paying contracts for a few years to come. And you have to, they're guaranteed contracts, unlike football. You have to keep paying them. They need to produce. And when Aaron Judge is in that lineup, it's a whole different lineup. He's great defensively. He's the captain of the Yankees. He's the team leader on and off the field. They go as Aaron Judge does. So you hope that Judge can come back soon. I don't like how the Yankees have been very cagey and being secretive, like Bill Belichick we spoke about earlier. With the injuries, they first claimed, it's just a sore toe. After he made a great catch, it was like the Kool-Aid Man. He slammed into the wall at Dodger Stadium in L.A. Back on June 3rd, about a month ago. Made a great catch to save the game, but little did we know, besides he smashed through the wall, there was cement, concrete cement underneath the wall, and he banged the toe of the Yankees. Of course, they kind of been lying about injuries. They it's just sore. He'll be back in a couple of days. It turned out it's not broken, but now it's a torn ligament. Judge, weeks later, had to say, no, it's a torn ligament on his back foot that he has to produce his power from when he hits, and he wants to play the outfield and run. He's saying that it still hurts when he just walks, never mind running on a field. So he can't really even just DH and hit. But Judge, little progress. I did see him while in Oakland, and that's in his hometown in the Bay Area when he was considering as Arson Judge coming back to the Bay Area to play for the San Francisco Giants. But luckily for Yankee fans, he stayed in New York for the big contract, 9-year contract. He's starting to have a catch on the field. He's starting to move around a little bit. So if he can get progress, that's what I mean. He's definitely not playing the All-Star game. My daughter's 6th birthday is on July 11th, the day of the All-Star game in Seattle, where the Seattle Mariners play. That All-Star game is in 11 days, because it's July 1st tomorrow. July 11th is the All-Star game. He's not going to play in it, so it's going to be ceremonial. He deserved it, and as I said, it builds up his resume when he probably one day will be a Hall of Famer, as long as he can stay healthy enough, because he's had injury problems in the past. He can wave to the fans. He's not going to be able to play. He'll be in uniform. I'm sure he'll be in the cool moments. His 5th time going to the All-Star game. It's well-deserved. He had a great first half, even with missing the month with the injury. It just stinks because he was on pace to maybe match what he did last year, which he doesn't even have to do every year, because that's crazy when he hit 62 home runs. But it stinks that he got hurt, and it's hurt the Yankees, and it's one of the great players in baseball. It's like if Shohei Ohtani and the Angels got hurt, and he's going to free agency, who knows? He might be making $500 million in the offseason. It'd be sad if he got hurt. So you want to see stars of the game play and play in the All-Star game. So Judge, I know they've also been promoting the All-Star game with Judge all over the TV, the commercials, and the magazine covers and all that. So they definitely Judge is one of the faces of the game, just like Derek Jeter was when he was the captain of the Yankees. So Judge, I think, will be there in uniform. He'll wave to the crowd. They'll cheer him on. It just stinks that he won't be able to play in it, but the main thing is if he can get healthy, and if the Yankees can get healthy for this stretch run, and they can hold on to one of those wild card spots in the expanded playoffs, they could be dangerous, because last year they were really good and they fell off the cliff and they got injuries late. If they could have the injuries early and then get healthy at the right time, going into September, October for the playoff push, they can be healthy at the right time. They could be a dangerous team in the playoffs, and maybe the Yankees go on a run and they can continue on their streak where anytime they throw a perfect game this season, this is only the fourth time it's ever happened, a very rare feat, they won a World Series. So is that likely to happen? Probably not, but there's a chance. As they said in Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey said, so you're saying there's a chance. And if they can get healthy at the right time and they get their big guy in Judge back and all the other hitters in that lineup start to click like they've done in the past, I like their pitching, and they're getting Carlos Rodon back, who's a star pitcher they got in the offseason. The Yankees could be a dangerous team come playoff time, but a lot needs to go right, and the healthiness of their star players needs to start to break their way. They need to stay healthy, and they got to start producing. But I'm excited to see that Judge will be an all-star again this year. Wish he could play in it. And I do remember that he won his only home run derby he ever participated in. The nervous night before my first child, Lorelai, was born. We stayed up late to watch that, and then we knew we were having a C-section the next morning. We would be up super early. Barely got any sleep that night because I was nervous because I knew I was going to be a dad the next day. It was excitement and also scared at the same time. We watched Judge win the home run derby in 2017, and then the next day, July 11th, I watched the All-Star game, my daughter's first ever baseball game, and we watched lots of baseball. I'm her coach pitch Yankees coach. We just finished up the season, throwing the ball, and she's hitting it, doing well. Our first game we got to watch together, we got the bond over. She was a crying baby of a few hours old, and we watched the All-Star game, which fell on her birthday 6 years ago, July 11, 2017. We watched that in the hospital room where we got very little sleep that night because she was, as any newborn baby, screaming their heads off. Any parent will know. And now 6 years later, we're going to celebrate her birthday, and the All-Star game will be on her birthday again, July 11th. And we were hoping to see Judge there, but now we'll just have to wave at Judge because he's an All-Star but won't play. But we'll get to watch the All-Star game together again as father and daughter, and we'll get to bond over that. So it's a nice moment, full circle, celebrating her birthday when she was born. Now 6 years later, celebrating her 6th birthday, going to first grade, how time has flown by. And that was Aaron Judge's first All-Star game, and now this is his 5th All-Star game 6 years later on her birthday in just 11 more days.
Yeah, and painting the picture here, speaking with Ross Turetsky inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And, and looking at, all these things, talking about the Yankees and whatnot, and obviously very happy for, Aaron Judge to be where he's at and to have the opportunities that he has. We were asked the question, because I think the problem with the Yankees has been pitching. I think, if you go back 10 years, you go back 5 years, you go now, I think the Yankees have relied on having one ace in the hole, and in this case, Garrett Cole. In the past, they wanted it to be CC Sabathia. But not having a full rotation, or at least 3 guys that they could lean on and say, they're going to get us to the promised land. I mean, yes, the bats aren't firing away, and without Aaron Judge, that obviously changes things. One of the best bats in baseball, and to some people, the best bat in baseball. But I know people would argue Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout when Mike Trout's on, and so on and so forth. But looking at the Yankees, if the bats aren't bringing things where they need to bring things offensively, if you have good defense and pitching, you can win the 1-0 games, the 2-1 games, the 3-2 games. When you're relying to out-hit somebody, those are the teams that I feel like aren't typically winning the World Series. And that's why I lean on pitching and say I want to see it get better for the Yankees and maybe make some moves.
I totally agree. Come playoff time, especially. During the regular season, you got to slug your opponents. And I think they rely too much on the home run ball, which is not even really just hit it. They're just hoping to hit a 3-run homer, or else if they don't do that, they don't win. In the playoffs, with better pitching, you're facing ace pitchers and top relievers throwing 100 miles an hour, nasty breaking balls that move really tough to hit. That's how you're going to have to win. Right now, they have the best ERA, bullpen ERA. Their relief pitchers are going to have to be lights out. They're going to have to win those 3-2 games and close games in the playoffs. So come playoff time, that's what's going to have to be, because their offense is not going to really light it up in the playoffs when you're facing great pitching. But to get to the playoffs, they're going to have to start clicking, especially without Judge, and hit a little bit more. But they do. Their rotation's not great. I would be the first to admit. Their bullpen's terrific. but Garrett Cole is the superstar ace, and after Garrett Cole, they have a lot of question marks. But as I said, they have guys. Domingo Germán has been pitching pretty well this year, and now just threw the perfect game. Nestor Cortez, Nasty Nestor, he's coming back from an injury. He should be back soon. They do have some good pitchers, and as I said, one guy to look out for. Carlos Rodon was a star pitcher for the White Sox and the San Francisco Giants. They paid him 6 years, like $126 million in free agency this past offseason. After they got judged for all that money, Carlos Rodon is going to be healthy, coming off pitching double-A rehab starts for the Somerset Patriots in Jersey. He's supposed to be back, I think, by July 5th. By next week, and he'll be back in the Yankee star rotation. If he does what he's done in the past, they have a lights-out second ace, a lefty ace, to go along with Garrett Cole, their top right-handed ace, and that could be a great 1-2 punch, especially if they can get into the playoffs. So that's what I mean when they're getting healthy at the right time. They get Carlos Rodon back to go with Garrett Cole and Nasty Nestor and Domingo Germán, and that pitching is clicking. I think I like their chances, and I think then they have a much better chance come playoff time. As you said, defense wins championships in sports, and so does great pitching. They're gonna have to. They might have to outslug their way past their opponents to get to the playoffs. Come playoff time, they're gonna have to win those low-scoring 3-2 games, and that's where you're gonna need clutch, timely hitting, not just relying on home run, and you're gonna need the quality pitching who only gives up a couple runs a game.
Yeah, and Domingo Germán, we got asked this question as he just made some history here, and as we spoke about, every time the Yankees have had a pitcher throw a perfect game in that season, what they've done, postseason wise to win the World Series and whatnot. But Domingo Germán, we got asked the question how sticky his hands are, because he has been suspended, and back in May, he was tossed out of a game against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's funny here how they worded it, where they said that he pitched 3 perfect innings on 37 pitches before the umpires deemed his hands too sticky and tossed him out. So, the sticky icky. But, it's just funny to see that it's like his hands were sticky, but there's a difference between your hands are sticky and they're too sticky. And they're like, no, Domingo, those hands are too sticky for you to go on.
Whatever he had on his hand.
The stickiest sticky. Max Scherzer, though, him too, and not appealing his suspension, to me, showed his guilt.
That's what it seems like. And Domingo Germán, he put too much of it on. They allow you to use some rosin so you can grip the ball when you're hot and sweaty. But they're saying that the umpire said he had the stickiest hands he's ever felt before. And he got caught a few times during the season where they warned him, they had him clean off his hands. Even a game I went to on Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th against the Twins, Rocco Baldelli, the Minnesota Twins manager, got tossed. He went crazy because he's like, Domingo Germán's pitching so well against. I thought he was just sour grapes because he's pitching so well against his team. They thought he had some sticky stuff then. They let him stay in the game, wipe his hands off. This time he's on their radar. So if he's silly enough to put sticky stuff on his hands now, he's going to get caught because they're going to check him every single time. It's just like if you've committed crimes in the past, they're going to check you a lot harder now. That's what they're going to do with Domingo Germán. So Domingo Germán is on the watch list for the sticky substances. So I hope from here on out he's not stupid enough to do that. And then he pitched well when he came back to the suspension without allegedly using sticky stuff. But then he had 2 really bad games. My wife got us tickets for our anniversary at Fenway Park. Got to see Fenway Park, 111-year stadium. They came out a few days, I think 5 days after the Titanic sunk in 1912. So a historical stadium got lit up in that game, and they got lit up the next game against the Mariners at Yankee Stadium. So we had 2 really bad starts, Domingo Germán in a row, after pitching so well this year, and then the suspension. And then you're like, what's going on with Domingo Germán? Does he need the sticky stuff to do well? And then he throws the perfect game. So now, was it just because the Oakland Athletics are a horrible baseball team that's not really trying to win? Or is it that Domingo Germán is able to pitch well without the sticky stuff? It's yet to be seen. I think it might be a little bit of both. I think it helped that he faced a bad team, but it's not like people are throwing perfect games against the Oakland Athletics every time. It's still a Major League Baseball team, even if they're a bad one. So it helped that he faced a bad team, but still was a great start. But let's see from here on out, what can he do, especially against the good teams? Will he be effective? Because it's easier to dominate an Oakland team. What's he going to do against one of the top-notch teams when he faces the Astros, when he faces the Tampa Bay Rays, when he faces the Baltimore Orioles, who are a surprise team? Will he be able to be effective then? That's yet to be seen. The Texas Rangers are also another surprise team this year. So it's great for Domingo Germán and the Yankees, the perfect game. But I'm the first one to admit, it's not easy to do against anyone, but it helped that it was against the Oakland Athletics, who sadly, I feel bad for the city of Oakland. The Golden State Warriors moved out of Oakland to San Francisco where their new arena is. They lost the football team. The Raiders moved from Oakland to Vegas, and now it looks like their baseball team is moving to Vegas really soon. So it just stinks. And Oakland has been a great sports city for so many years, and they can't get the stadium issue right. And these owners seem to just want to jump ship and move to San Francisco or the Bay Area on the other side of the water. And it looks like Oakland's going to lose another professional sports team.
Yeah, and it is really sad to see for Oakland and for their fans, and I feel bad. I feel bad for that. San Diego still has the Padres, and St. Louis comes with the Battlehawks of the XFL. So some of these cities that have lost franchises have gained somewhere else. It seems like Oakland's just losing and not gaining anything. Like you said, the Golden State Warriors leaving, and as well as the Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, and then we'll see the departure of the Oakland A's as well. And, to go back to the sticky substance and all this stuff, I made some comments inside of our feed here, and you can go back and check them out. Of course, you are with us live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, typically going past 11 o'clock. And under promise, over deliver. That's what we're about here. YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt. Join us, subscribe. You can chat in our live chat room. You could do the same thing by following our Facebook page, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and by joining our live room and making sure while you're on Podbean to click follow of our podcast and join us live. And when you're in the live room, you can obviously chat with us there in the live chat. And of course, to subscribe to us, to follow us on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Very easy. Just click follow so you never miss a live broadcast again, and so you can chat with us in the live chat room. So a lot of good stuff there. I do want to get to some of my points here because I put them in the live feed here on Facebook. I said they should be pitching on talent and preparation. There should be no substance. I'm sure I can pitch better if I had a substance. I'm also sure that I could bat better if I had steroids. There's so many people trying to make it and work through the farm system. Guys that are playing in single A, double A, triple A, that are playing in, small leagues all over the country, that are doing it right. It's ridiculous and bad for baseball to have any type of cheating, play fair or don't play at all. And that's the thing. So Greg said the issue that there is no true consistent protocol, total judgment, how much is too much, how one umpire could say, this is too sticky, another umpire says it's not. But the reality of it all is, like I said, there should be no substance, no steroids, no sticky anything. There shouldn't be anything because you shouldn't be cheating to play this game. You just shouldn't be doing it. And to play any game because, again, you got a job. You're in the majors. If you're in the majors because of sticky substances and steroids, then you don't deserve to be there. And I'm thinking about getting a t-shirt made from my merchandising company, and I want to thank East Coast Specialties. I'm thinking about getting a t-shirt made that says on my chest, play fair or don't play. Because to me... Go ahead.
Ruins the integrity of the game, and I think you grow up with all these, you're a role model whether you like it or not. These kids see it, especially with the steroid scandals in the years past, and now with this stuff, even if it's to a lesser extent where you're just putting sticky stuff on your hands, it makes them think, if you cheat and get away with it and make millions of dollars of guaranteed money and become a success and rich and famous, then it's worthwhile. It's worth it to cheat and do the wrong thing. Where we should be teaching the kids, you got to do it the right way. Play fair. Do it the right way, do it in an appropriate way, and don't just say, what by any means necessary. It doesn't matter what I do and what I teach the younger generation, that they can cheat and they can be rich and famous just like me. I just think it's so hypocritical and nasty to do, and I'm like, you just got to do it the right way. I can respect you. If you're not as good, and I was only a mediocre player, but I tried my best, but at least I know I got every ounce of whatever I had ability-wise. But if you're naturally gifted and a superstar on your own, like let's say Alex Rodriguez was, and Sammy Sosa, and McGuire, and Bonds, and all those steroid cheaters, they were amazing to begin with. They would have been probably Hall of Famers. Roger Clemens, another one. They would have probably been Hall of Famers without cheating. But then they took the stuff to be enhanced even more, to dominate more, to massage their egos and make even more money and win more games. And hit the ball even further like that. I can't live with, and I just think it's disgusting, and it's a bad precedent and bad role models for the kids that are going to be coming up in the future. So I'd rather you just play your best, even if it's a little bit worse than if it's a little not as great as it could be with steroids or cheating. I'd rather you just play your best by natural ways and let the chips fall where they may at that point.
Yeah, look at it like this: if there's anything inside of your glove besides your hand, you're out.
Yeah,
I mean that's how it needs to be, because you just don't do stuff like this. There's so, and if people say, well, Dan, a little bit's okay, or I don't care about this, or, when people say, well, steroids don't affect your eyes on the ball, and you still have to, steroids would not be used if they didn't help you. That's reality. Barry Bonds weighed 89 pounds when he first came into baseball. Then he became the Michelin Man. He's got tiny legs. He's got a big ballooned out chest and arms, big old head. Yeah. When you look at Barry Bonds today versus Barry Bonds, when we were growing up as kids, Barry Bonds was this like stick figure. Barry Bonds went from Gumby to the Stay Puft. He went from Gumby to the Stay Puft guy from Ghostbusters. I mean,
The thing is, now that he's done playing, he's back to being skinny again. Now that he's an older man.
Of course he is. Yeah. And what does he tell you? Oh, it's because I'm not working out. It's because I'm relaxing. No, nobody looks like, I mean, seriously, come on now. And when they tell me, well, it doesn't affect your eyes and it doesn't affect your swing. If steroids did not make you a better baseball player, you wouldn't take them. That's reality. No man is standing out here in society that I know of that's going, put a needle in my butt just for the hell of it. It's obviously to help them get better at a game where other people are trying to do it the natural way. And I would rather have a guy playing in single A get called up to double A, triple A, and to my team that does it the right way and bat 275 than have somebody batting 375 that's cheating out the pitchers, cheating out the fans, and cheating out the teams. Because let's be real about this. If you're taking steroids as a batter, you're affecting the record of the team you're playing, the record of your team, you're affecting the pitcher's statistics, you're affecting the outfielder's statistics, and ultimately, you're affecting the money of all of those players, because if you're hitting these home runs and you're getting this incentive and that incentive, but you're doing it by cheating, then you're affecting the incentives of the pitchers. You're affecting the incentives of the team if you win this many games, if you do this, if you do that. So, to me, it's never just one person. It's never one incident. If you're cheating the game, you're cheating the game. And you know what? I'm going to be real about this. The only people that defend cheaters are cheaters. Yeah. Because there's nobody out here being good to their wife going, no, cheating's fine. No. If you say cheating's fine or define, I remember when I got cheated on, the girl said to me, she goes, well, define cheating. I said, only a cheater would say that.
Wait, that sounds like Bill Clinton when he was saying define sex. So that sounds like a cheater's statement to say, well, how do you define cheating? It sounds like you just cheated and you're trying to cover your tracks.
Yeah, it's like define cheating.
Better than it is.
Well, cheating is cheating. Well, is cheating what I think it is, or is cheating what other people think it is? And it's just, it's just ridiculous to me. I did put fan polls up here, and two of them are up here on Twitter. Pardon me, @CallDT. That's CALLDT. You could vote in them right now. These polls are open for a week. Jets fans, do you want to see your team on this season of Hard Knocks? 71.4% so far have said yes. 28.6% have said no. And then I asked the question, if you had a choice of trading for either of these two players, which one would you choose to take if you could only choose one? Between Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, 100% of the fans that have voted for Ohtani. No one has voted for Aaron Judge.
Yeah, see, as much as I love Aaron Judge, and I'm a lifelong Yankee fan, he's the captain of the Yankees, he's the home run king in my mind, the true clean home run king single season, like Hank Aaron's the true career home run king, not Barry Bonds. I would still probably have to go with Ohtani. Ohtani's a little younger. He can pitch and hit. He's just as good of a power hitter as Aaron Judge is offensively, and he can do something that Judge isn't able to do. He's a dominant pitcher who might win the Cy Young Award in the American League as the best pitcher, and he might win the MVP for the second time in 3 years. Lost last year to Judge, was second place, and won in 2021. The only reason why Ohtani's not winning the MVP every year is because the Angels sometimes stink, and that's why in free agency he might leave to go to a more competitive team for a buttload of money. But if the Angels were actually competitive every year and had a chance to make the playoffs, he'd probably be the MVP hands down every single season, because he could do something that, as great as Aaron Judge is, Ohtani's been staying healthier lately a lot more than Judge is, which is a big help. He's on the field producing more, and he's, as I said, just as good offensively. And then pitching-wise, he's unstoppable. So if you're an amazing pitcher and an amazing hitter, and Judge is just an amazing hitter and position player, a great defensive position player as well, but also gets hurt, that's going to be just a peg down. So I would say, as much as I love Judge, as of now, and he's a little younger, and he can pitch and hit at a dominant level, I would say I would go with Ohtani over Judge. And that's hard for me to say, but I'll be the first to admit that. And with the Jets, the fan and the ratings and the excitement would love to see them on Hard Knocks, but in order for them to actually win and be a competitive Super Bowl contender, they'd probably be best not to be on Hard Knocks. But if you just want to watch the world burn like the Joker, then just for entertainment purposes, I would say I'd vote for them to be on Hard Knocks, but it will probably not be a very successful season if they are. But it'd be fun to watch, and as much as it pains me to say, I would probably pick Ohtani over Judge.
Yeah, I mean, and I would too. I mean, there's a reason why when they did the universal DH, going into last season and said, hey, we're gonna have universal DH, and it's not gonna be National League one thing, American League the other. No pitcher is gonna have to hit anymore. You can have your designated hitter on your roster, and then
the ridiculous rule to begin with.
Right.
They had two separate rules for National League and American League. It should have always been universal DH. Once the DH was brought into the American League in 1973, which was 50 years ago, with Ron Blumberg for the Yankees, it should have been in the National League as well. I think it was crazy. It took so long for it to be universal DH when almost every other level, unless you're a guy like Ohtani, most pitchers, unless there's a rare bird who can hit amazingly, they don't ever hit. They don't hit. They have DHs in high school, DHs in college, DH in the minor leagues. So how were they prepared to hit anyway in the big leagues? So it was ridiculous up until last year, and then the shortened COVID year, they allowed universal DH. That it was like a bargaining chip when they were agreeing to a contract with negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement, that they had the National League pitchers hit, and then there was a DH in the American League, and only in the World Series interleague play did you see a DH for the National League team. I thought that was insane. So I'm glad. I just go on my little soapbox as a baseball fanatic. I'm glad now it's universal DH and we're playing under one set of rules and not two set of rules, because that makes no sense that the NL did what they want and the AL and the American League did what they want. It made no sense, and I'm glad that's been fixed.
Yeah, and it was crazy. It was two different leagues, literally, and it was like two different. I mean, you can't play baseball where you have half of your teams in Major League Baseball benefiting from a person whose only job is to hit and run, and then you have somebody, by the way, the only place in the world where you can hit and run and it's not a felony. So,
the pitcher, when he hit, unless it was the rare guy like Ohtani, some CC Sabathia can hit, most pitchers were automatic out. So it gave the pitcher an amazing advantage that he could get the ninth place hitter out. They usually put the pitcher hitting last. He'd have almost an automatic out in that line every single time. He'd intentionally walk the eighth place hitter so he can get to the pitcher so he can get out of the inning with 2 outs to get out of the inning and get the third out. And that was just a big advantage. Now, can't do that anymore. Now you have a DH, you have to face a real hitter. So it was ludicrous that you were allowed to do that in the National League for so long.
Yeah, and that's again, and you brought up the point. I mean, Randy Johnson, fantastic pitcher, one of my favorites of all time, if not my favorite of all time. And what did we see, right? Randy Johnson's batting average was like 191. So I mean,
he couldn't hit to save his life.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's ridiculous, and you got to go. You got to go. I mean, you had to go DH. There's no reason why outside of Ohtani. And when Jacob deGrom was healthy and doing it for the Mets, outside of those two, those are two pitchers. Those are two pitchers. And if you talk about a 5-man rotation and 30 teams, that's 150 pitchers. 2 of them could hit. Out of 150, there was 2 names that you knew.
They usually have about 10 relief pitchers on their team. So sometimes you have 15, 16 pitchers on your out of your 26-man roster, that over half of them are pitchers, and almost all of them, 99% of them, aren't able to hit at any decent rate. So never mind at major league level against a guy throwing 100 miles an hour. So it's ridiculous. And now they have like the Ohtani rule. You know, they used to call it the Jordan rules with foul calls and this and that. The Ohtani rule is even when he has to come out of the game as a pitcher, he's such a great hitter, they allow Ohtani to stay in the game as the DH, which is pretty cool because they still have him as the DH and he gets a DH/pitch. But he gets to stay in the game, and when you take him out from pitcher, usually you'd be out for the game. You'd lose his star bat. Now his back gets to stay in the game even when he's taken out off the mound as a pitcher. So I'm glad they have that rule and that Ohtani can hit the entire game even when he's off the mound.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was going to get to. I mean, you know you're really good when you have a rule named after you, and the Ohtani rule being in place where if you have a pitcher that can hit, which is like finding an albino crocodile with blue eyes, if you can find that, then you can have that. But it doesn't happen a lot. And like Ross said, I mean, I'm talking about rotation. When Ross said you add in all the relief, if you have 16 on a team times 30 teams, that's 480 pitchers, and there's 2 of them that could hit in recent history, Shohei Ohtani and Jacob deGrom. 2 out of 480. That means 438 of them, and okay, obviously you got to cut the 480 in half because there's only one half of the league that had the pitcher have to. So 240 pitchers having to come up to bat, maybe, and seeing the fact that normally a pitcher is not hitting the ball anywhere. So it's ridiculous. It was wrong. I love the Ohtani rule. The universal DH should have happened a long time ago. I do want to make a note before we do a final thing with college football here with Ross Turetsky on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Exactly 2 weeks ago, as we sit here on June 30th, back on June 16th, Ronald Acuna Jr., who, by the way, is still one of the, if not the hottest baseball card sought after, Ronald Acuna, with Shohei Ohtani, Ronald Acuna Jr., and a little bit of Mike Trout, Acuna became the first player ever in Major League Baseball history to have 15 home runs and 30 steals in a team's first 70 games. We got asked, this first time in MLB history, we got asked a question, and the question was 15 home runs and 30 stolen bases in the first 70 games. Not even the first half of the season. Less than the first half of the season. So we got asked this question, and the question is, do we believe that Ronald Acuna Jr. will be 30-70? Will he have 30 home runs and 70 steals 162 games into the season?
It's very tough to call. I'd say he probably finishes a little short. I think he definitely hits over 30 home runs as long as he stays healthy. I think he ends up with close. I think he ends up with about 60 stolen bases, which is still insane, 30 and 60. And it makes it a little easier to steal bases because now, of course, they've changed some rules. There's the pitch clock. There, you can only throw over to first base on a pickoff attempt 2 times. On the 3rd time, if you don't pick off the runner, it's a balk, so he gets to take second base. So you can't constantly throw over there to hold the runner. You got, as I said, pitch clock. You have no shifts now, so you can't direct your defense all the way to one side of the field. Shifted that over.
Bigger bases.
And then bigger bases. That too helps stolen bases. That you just get a picky on that base. If you with bigger bases, when you look at it close enough, it's a pretty much big. It's a decent sized difference bag when you touch that base. It's a lot easier to get to that base quicker now with a bigger base. So the 3 big rule changes in baseball this season, I think, have helped the game. The game has moved quicker. Instead of 3-4 hour games, the games are going about 2.5 hours. So the game is moving quicker. There's more hitting. There's more offense without the shift. Bigger bases, more stolen bases. There's a guy, as bad as Oakland Athletics are, there's a guy who he's on pace to have maybe 60, 70 stolen bases. The star player, I think his last name is Ruiz on the Oakland Athletics. So you might see it. I think he'll come close if he stays healthy. I think he definitely gets 30 home runs. I think he ends up with about 60 stolen bases if he stays healthy. And they're about halfway through the season now. Every team's played about 81 games so far. So he's going to come super close to doing that. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is one of the star players of the game. And they won a World Series in 2021 when he got hurt. During that season, halfway through the year, the Atlanta Braves lost him, and they were able to win with lesser players. And now that they got him back, they have a superstar with all those other great young players, and they locked him up to nice, player-friendly, team-friendly contracts. The Atlanta Braves, they're a dangerous team year in, year out. They have star players who are on these friendly deals, who took the guaranteed money but not the top market value, and they've locked them up for a massive amount of years. The Atlanta Braves are a star-studded team. You want to watch out for a team in baseball, watch out for the Atlanta Braves for the next. They won the World Series 2 years ago, and they're going to be a tough team for anyone to fight off for a long time to come. And they have one of the best players in the game, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, Ronald Acuna Jr. just a fantastic player. Ross said 30. He thinks he'll get over 30 home runs by the end of the season. 162 games in this season. Ronald Acuna Jr. 30. Ross said over 30 home runs, 60 stolen bases. I'm gonna say he's gonna pass 30 home runs, and I'm gonna give him like between 60 and 65 stolen bases. I'm going to give him like 63 stolen bases. So I think he'll get close, but I don't know if he's going to get to 70. So I agree with Ross on that, but I do think he's going to get over 30 home runs. Ronald Acuna Jr., those cards, people just keep wanting them. All that Ronald Acuna stuff.
Yeah. They might be running away with that NL East division title, so if they clinch the division early, they might let Ronald Acuna Jr. get some rest and not play for that kind of record to get 70 stolen bases, to go for like a high stolen base record. They might give him some extra days off so he's well rested and he's ready to go for their hopefully long playoff run to try to compete for the championship. So that's another thing to look out for. If they clinch the division early, then Ronald Acuna Jr. might get some days off, and that might lower some of his numbers a bit. But I think the home run total is definitely safe at 30, maybe even more than 30 he'll get. Stolen bases, he might finish just short of it just because he might get a few extra days off late in the season when he would be going for that mark if they clinch the division a little early.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very, very good point here by Ross Turetsky here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Final note that we have here, and definitely want to make sure that we make this note as we promised that we would. College football, last thing we're going to talk about here on the broadcast today to end out the month of June on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And that being college football. Realignment is happening this Saturday, July 1st. We will see that BYU will go from being an independent in football and being in the WCC for basketball and all their other sports, that BYU is going to be joining the Big 12 in all sports, including football. See Notre Dame? Somebody can go from independent to being on a conference. So BYU will be joining the Big 12.
The 1 year with COVID because they had to go to the playoffs, but now they're back to independent Notre Dame football.
Yeah, good old Notre Dame. And BYU is going to be an official full member of the Big 12. Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, making me cry. Leaving the American Athletic Conference, they will all become full members of the Big 12. And on July 1st, 2023, coming up here this Saturday, we will see in realignment, we will see the American Athletic Conference add 6 schools from Conference USA. Rivalries will be renewed. FAU, Rice, as well as North Texas, UTSA, UAB, and UNC Charlotte will all be joining the American Athletic Conference after making the decision public on my birthday, October 21st of 2021. And Lemoyne College, where I have an exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, as we step into year 3 on Saturday, July 1st, 2023, they will officially, for the first time ever, become a Division I school, joining the Northeast Conference, leaving NCAA Division II and the NE10. So, realignment has reared its ugly head once again, and in a lot of cases, for Lemoyne, this is awesome, it's historic, it's incredible. In the world of FBS, it's shaking a lot of things up and making things interesting. We know in the not-too-distant future, Oklahoma and Texas next year will, July 1st, 2024, will be joining the SEC. Yeah, right. And then USC and UCLA will be joining the Big Ten, leaving the Pac-12. So, my good brother, what are your thoughts on realignment and reclassification, as we know that this Saturday, July 1st, 2023, we'll see a lot of movement, and next year we'll see a lot of movement, and I believe that there could be more movement in between those two dates.
I think it will be fun for a lot of college fans, just because it expands the game, expands the big pool of money. I know before he left, I think now he has a big vice president or president job for the Chicago Bears. The Big Ten commissioner on his way out got that massive deal done where they're going to have primetime games on NBC, which used to just have Notre Dame games with Big Ten football. So there's so much money to be had. It is a little weird to me, and as much as they say it's all about student athletes, that now Big Ten's mostly in Midwest, East Coast, and now they're going to have two powerhouse teams that have always been in the Pac-10 in USC and UCLA. California, that now they're going to be in the Big Ten, and it's not just for football, because at least football is just once a week. There's even the sports that maybe are a little bit smaller that people don't always pay attention to: volleyball, soccer, tennis. All those schools, they're going to have to go cross country to California. California schools have to go cross country to the East Coast and the Midwest, and it's going to be a travel nightmare. That's my only issue with it. As much as you claim it's all about the kids, all about student athletes, and I get it. They get scholarships, and it's amazing. It's a great opportunity and big rated success. And now with the NIL deals, you can make some money off your own likeness, and it would be nice if the school gave them money and not just through whatever businesses, because that could be run rampant, and who knows who's really policing that, who's getting what. And only really the big-time star players from the money-making sports like football and basketball are going to make much money off that. But a lot of these sports, the bigger and smaller sports, are all going to have to go cross-country to face California schools, and then they're going to go to the East Coast. I just think it is a little bit of a time. It's a travel nightmare to actually get your schoolwork done, and when you actually claim it's all about student athletes, when really, for a lot of them, I think it's more about the money now for these schools and how much big money is at stake with these broadcast contracts. And it's not as much about the kids as much as it should be, as much as it might help grow the game in the long run. And we'll get used to it. I still miss back in the day the original Big East, when Syracuse, your basketball school, used to have those big rivalries. I was at your house for the 6 overtime game in the Big East Conference tournament in 2009 with Johnny Flynn against UConn, and it was up till like 2 o'clock in the morning at Madison Square Garden. And I miss Syracuse against some of those historical rivals from the Big East, and now a lot of that's changed since they've moved to the ACC. So I do miss the old school conference rivalries. Some of them will be renewed, some of them will make new rivalries. But I do kind of miss about the good old days of those old conference rivalries. I'm sure I'll get used to this version. But I also think it's a little weird that you're having like schools from California have to travel to the East Coast and vice versa when you claim that it's all about the kids, and that's why you couldn't have a college football playoff for so long because of all the travel. But for basketball and all these other baseball, all of them, they're traveling all year long. And then you complain about football, that's why you can't have a playoff. And now at least they can expand the football playoff in another year. They only have one more year of the debacle of this 14 playoff, which is better than just the BCS, but it's still not what it should be. So at least we're going to get that soon, and that will be exciting, get the legit 12-team playoff. But I do think it is a kind of crazy, some of these schools that are joining conferences just to make money when they're nowhere near each other geographically.
Yeah, and it's a little bit interesting here because Oklahoma and Texas are going to join. That July 1st has been the realignment date that we've all come to know. Whoever it was over the years here, July 1st, 2024, as I said, Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. Little bit of a different rule here, though. And it may, I mean, it's a move that doesn't make any geographical sense, and it's also going to be a change from our July 1st, is that USC and UCLA will be joining the Big 10, leaving the Pac-12 on August 2nd of 2024 instead of July 1st. So
before the fall season, but just a
yeah.
little bit later. And then going back to Oklahoma and Texas, big-time rivals in the Big 12. Now they're going to the SEC. It's just going to make Nick Saban, Alabama's job, and then Georgia's job a lot tougher because they had such a tough SEC conference, and now you have two other schools that have tons of money and boosters and all this resources. So the SEC, which was great to begin with, is now going to be really hard to be dominated. And then you just heard this week whether he said it to recruit, whether he believes it or not. Nick Saban told the recruit, "I'm going to coach until I croak, until I'm gone from this world." And it's a little hardcore. He's 72 years old. You wonder how much more he has. He could have just said it to keep the recruit so he doesn't go to another SEC rival. But he's got to have his it's going to be a lot harder for him to dominate the SEC dominate the SEC like he had been with all the national titles and all the championships and conference titles, where the conference is getting bigger and more money's getting brought into it, and now you have these two other big powerhouses in Texas and Oklahoma who've had some struggles in recent years, especially Texas. Oklahoma's been really good at football, but it's just going to make it a lot more competitive. It'll be exciting to watch as a fan, but it maybe it's going to be a lot harder for these dynasties, the Alabama dynasty and then the Georgia dynasty that's trying to build its way up, winning two back-to-back national titles. Now their quarterback, who was like 50 years old, he has to finally leave. I think he got drafted by the Rams, and then he said he still didn't graduate from college, even though he'd been there for like 10 years. I don't know how that happened. But it's going to be a lot harder to dominate a conference that's so tough when you're having so much great teams in there. It's going to make it fun, but it's also going to be very hard. And I think some of these schools are going to have to change their standard of success, because if you don't win, let's say the head coach of LSU, who was a former Notre Dame coach, Kelly, if he doesn't win a national title in the first 3 years at LSU, Brian Kelly, is it going to be considered a failure? Or will they going to fire him after all that money? Or will they say, oh, he's won 10 games a season, made a deep run in the playoffs, is that good enough? I don't know. You might have to change your level, your standard of what's successful when you're facing so much so much depth in the conference and in college football and beyond. These teams are going to have to maybe decide what's successful and what's going to cost the coach his job, wins and loss wise, and if he doesn't win enough championships, how is that going to work when you're facing so many good powerhouse schools?
Yeah. So, I mean, the SEC is definitely going to, in my opinion, form its own league. Would make sense eventually. And there's a lot to discuss. We have discussed over the last couple of years about that. July 1st is going to be a massive day for Wake Up Call, and we look forward to seeing you for extended coverage outside of our typical Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. With that being said, Ross, I appreciate you. Send you my love as always, buddy, and I look forward to talking to you.
You said you have a big announcement tomorrow, so I'm excited to hear about that, and very excited to be on the air with you, buddy. So it flew by really quick. We were on the air for just under 2 hours, but it flies by in a blink of an eye, and I love being on the air. I love being on the air with you, but I love also getting to see you, so I hope I get to see you soon. If you're around in this part for Lorelei's birthday, or her birthday party is going to be July 15th, Saturday after her birthday, I'll say it on the air. I'll press you on air. You're very much welcome to come to Dallas, Pennsylvania, and celebrate your little niche, Lorelei Turetsky's 6th birthday.
Yeah, no, and I definitely appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon, and very proudly wear my Arizona Diamondbacks Marvel's Avengers shirt today, as my Diamondbacks are in first place of the NL West, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah. Carvel guy, he's a superstar rookie outfielder, a really fast, great hitter, and one of the stars of the game. And he's a rookie, and he's on your Diamondbacks, and they're in first place over the LA Dodgers. And the Diamondbacks are one of them and the Cincinnati Reds and the Baltimore Orioles. They're one of the big surprise teams in baseball who might make a run at a championship this year and go deep in the playoffs. So I'm very excited about your Diamondbacks, who've had lots of struggles in recent years. They might be back to their winning ways again.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited, and I'm looking forward to it. That's why I'm wearing this proudly, and I wore it for you today to have this on as we talked about baseball. So with that being said, for Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer in this beautiful sports world and a brother in my life, I appreciate you. I love you, and definitely give my best to my niches, Boy Meets World reference, to my niece and my nephew, and I look forward to talking with you very soon, buddy. And we talk every day through messages and whatnot, so I'll talk to you in about 5 minutes, and I love you, and please give my best to your family.
Thank you so much for everything. Like I said, it was great to be on the air with you. I hope to see you soon. Have a great summer. Bye June. Welcome July. Very excited. A lot of birthdays in my family this month, so it'll be very busy. But hope to see you soon. And great to be on the air with you, buddy. Keep on doing what you're doing. All the great stuff and all of that merchandise that now you have on the website. That's pretty cool too. And just keep on all the amazing things you're doing and being the great person you are. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, and thank you for that. And you do the same. You gotta say Jamie. You gotta have that. So I definitely appreciate that as always. Arson and Coke, aka Ross, and myself, Dan Tortora, Ross Turetsky, and being here with us, Ross. I never know how to say goodbye, so I won't. I'll see you later, and I'll talk with you soon.
Until next time.
And so absolutely. So until next time, we'll talk with you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care, buddy. Coming from Ross Turetsky here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We'll take our final step aside as we've given you almost 3 hours as we are saying see you later to June and hello to July. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and extended time. A lot of the time, like today, giving you almost 3 hours of our broadcast. Being here with you on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com worldwide. And once the shows go live, you could jump into the archives and hang out with us. We'll be adding more to it. We just added our Liverpool special to the Liverpool Leadership Lounge, which you could see with Superintendent of Liverpool Central School District Dan Henner, as well as Liverpool High School Athletics Director Ari Lieberman. You could check out that Liverpool Leadership Lounge by going to any one of these avenues that you see on your screen. And definitely make sure you check them out, subscribe, and follow while you're there so that you can get updates and never miss one of our shows again. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, and more, including Podchaser and Boomplay. All you have to do to find our archive is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these podcasting platforms. A special thanks to all of our wonderful and incredible partners. Carvel DeWitt, the home of the DT Dolphins Signature Sunday, which is the official Sunday of the Lemoyne Dolphins that are right down the road. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where I had dinner last night with my buddy Isaac, another brother of mine. Their pizza is just fantastic. We get the pepperoni and sausage pizza, and it is incredible. I feel like it tastes better every single time. So make sure you go out and get it today. They have so many great things on their menu, including their amazing pizzas. PB&J's Lunchbox, Mother's Cupboard, the home of the Cuse McMother. My spin on the breakfast sandwich: bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Pick it up like a sandwich, cut it up, and eat it with syrup. 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at Mother's Cupboard. Chick-fil-A Cicero, Chick-fil-A Clay, K9 Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant, and our Downtown with Dan exclusive taste testing series is down there with 317 in downtown Syracuse. K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, and, of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call, hanging out with the Lemoyne College Dolphins for AD and DT every first and third Wednesday of each month, with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You could check out all of our content with Lemoyne College by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LemoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know the Bobcats are going to be with us every single month. Student athletes, coaches, administration throughout the year, sharing their stories in such a special and unique way. We're doing some really amazing things that have never been done on Wake Up Call, let alone ever been done with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, making history with them all throughout the year. National championship programs in men's and women's soccer, national tournament teams in men's and women's basketball, inaugural season, the creation of baseball this past season with Sean Peake and his crew, and the up-and-coming esports program with Brian Yurton. Definitely check out our roundtable discussions our panel discussions with student athletes, with Mary Hawkins, the new campus director, with obviously the coaches, and so much more. You don't want to miss a minute of the Bobcat Buzz, and you don't have to if you go to BSC Syracuse, that tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Bookmark it, save it, keep it, love it forever, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and search Bobcat Buzz on YouTube. You'll find all of our content. And of course, if you need more information on your Bobcats, which why wouldn't you, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And of course, go Bobcat Nation. With that being said, I want to thank Carvel for the annoying moment of the week every Friday. I want to thank Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead every Friday, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. I want to thank the wonderful top dogs when it comes to taking care of our dogs, K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding of East Syracuse right off of Bridge Street, for bringing us the top dog of the week. And I want to thank my top dog for 15 years as well as this week, and the incredible conversation that we always get to have that goes by so fast. I put so much energy into it, give it my all, and before you know it, you start and we're 2 hours in. And that's Ross Turetsky. I truly never know how to say goodbye. So like I say, see you. Ross says, until next time. So until next time, brother, I love you. Keep up the great work. He's going to be the Luzerne County Community College head baseball coach, and he's a sportscaster and writer in this beautiful world, writing for the paper in northeastern Pennsylvania. So can't wait to see what Ross does next, and I love my brother as always. So God bless you, bro, and thank you for joining me today. Thank you all for joining me, and be sure this Saturday, July 1st, 2023, at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I don't care if you set your alarm, wake up, watch the announcement, and go back to bed. Honestly, go ahead and do that, but don't miss it. Facebook, at WakeUpCallDT. Twitter, at CallDT. Instagram, at WakeUpCall_DT. Exclusive breaking news on Wake Up Call making history, as well as exclusive coverage of Lemoyne officially on the day they join Division I and the NEC, as well as exclusive, you won't find this content anywhere else to the degree that we do it, conversations with schools joining the American, plus Commissioner Mike Oresco on the day that they officially make history in the American Athletic Conference. Saturday, July 1st is history upon history upon history on Wake Up Call, and you don't want to miss it. Join us on Facebook, at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter, at Call DT, Instagram, at wakeupcall_DT, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course, wakeupcalldt.com. In the meantime, and as always, God bless you all. Keep stress out of your life, no stress. And always know that if you give it your all, you're never going to fail. So do your best. We'll talk soon. God bless.